Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the live stream. My name is Duchess, and this is where we talk about true crime and missing cases. And tonight we're going to be doing a recap about missing Paul Flores. I apologize that we had to reschedule this stream. Can everybody put a 1 in chat and let me know if you guys can hear me? Please, please, please let me go down here to the bottom of my StreamYard so I can catch up with you guys. And we're going to have different special guests tonight that I've asked to come up and just kind of talk about this case. And I may drop a link in chat if there's some people that want to join. We're just going to talk about some of the information that we learned on this last live stream from the family. And try to kind of whiteboard our thoughts and the facts that we know to try to put some of these pieces together. And I do hope that Cherries and Mr. Vince will be able to join us, as well as Paul's family and friends. And anyone on the West Coast that's following this case. If you guys are sharing Paul's information and sharing his flyer, please let me know in the chat, because it really means a lot to the family. It's a lot to unpack. And we already have Miss Chico on panel. Thank you, Chico, for joining me. How are you?
How are you out tonight? I'm good. How about yourself?
I am doing well. Tonight I made my homemade Big Mac and fries for the hubby.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
It's pretty good. I make my sauce homemade, do everything, and it was actually pretty delicious, I have to say.
I'm jelly.
So, I had to get some food in my belly, because this might be a really long conversation. So I'm gonna go over to the chat. I'm just gonna kind of say hi to everybody. I want to thank my moderators for being here. Y'all, we have rules on this platform. Listen, I know that YouTube is on fire, but there's creators going at everybody every which way. I'm not about that life, okay?
Not over here.
This is not where we do that. If you have an issue with somebody in the chat, listen, you both are adults. You can just listen to this stream and we can agree to disagree. We can share our thoughts and ideas in a way that is respectful. I want people to respect my subscribers, respect my members, and respect my moderators. We've always had these same rules on this channel, because I don't want any disrespect brought to these families. And I feel like that this community is ripe with just all types of things that is just so disappointing to me. And I'm ashamed. I don't want to be a part of it. You know, listen, if you've got rifts with people, like, do that over there. But please, I ask that if you respect me and you respect what I do here on this channel, I just ask that you take your personal beef somewhere else. Please coexist in this chat for the greater good. And if you can't do that, you can always, put your finger on the person that you don't want to see, and you can just block them, even if it's just for this live stream. And respect knows respect, and I appreciate that. And I just wanted to get that out of the way. So thank you, moderators, for dropping the rules, and all of the important links. Thank you, Michelle, for being the admin. Listen, if you don't listen, I don't call the shots. When I'm live, I'm busy having a conversation, and I have to stay on track. So Michelle is my best friend, and she is the admin. She's over my Discord, and what she say goes. And if she says you go, then I'll just have to see about it later. If you have an issue, if you get blocked and you have an issue and you want me to unblock you, just send me an email at Duchess for the Missing. You can see it right down here at the bottom of my screen, and I'll be happy to hear you out. I block people all the time. But if you don't reach out to me and I see the screenshot of whatever happened, I mean, you might just sit there.
Dutchie, I give you credit. You're nicer than me. Once you block, you block. I ain't going back.
Well, there's a lot of people that block me, I think Ernie Shell said that.
Mhm.
Block means block. You
I
learn the
know
hard
that.
way. There's some people that will always remain blocked. You can tell me your side of it, but, you know, I try to be a forgiving person.
No,
But
you're
then
doing it
there's
right
certain
though.
people that I just it's a no for me. So let me go over here to the chat because I have not been live in a while. I've been really busy with my parents. I was supposed to go out of town, but some things changed. So I decided to go ahead and do this tonight. So I want to thank everybody. And I see that I've got some new members. And so I just want to, take a few minutes to say hey to everybody. And just, I thank you for spending your time with me over here to talk about these cases because it's not the popular thing to do, y'all. It's more popular to go to these drama streams where everybody's fighting everybody and everybody, all the hair pulling and, oh my God. Like, stop.
Yeah, no. I want no parts in that either. Look, I
You
support who I
can't do it.
support.
It's just,
I don't want no parts in that. Don't put me in that shit because I will cuss you out flat
I'm
out.
serious. I'm like, go over there and do that. Just please don't involve me because
Okay.
I don't have the energy for all of that. So, hey Chatty, hey Michelle, so good to see you. Hey Cash. Cash was in here first and said the stream had been rescheduled. But of course it was two tonight. So thank you guys for being here. Hey Sunday Doodles. Hey Roro. Roro, I hope you got your seatbelt on because you're gonna need it tonight and your tinfoil hat and all the things. So definitely buckle up for this one. Hey, Terry Dean, she's already got her bus and her rocket ship to the moon. She's ready to go. Voir dire, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing good. Hey, there's Chico. There's Dragon Classy. Good to see you. Hey, Connie. Hope you're well. There's TK. Hey, TK, how are you? Hey, T Marie. Thank you for being here. I hear the puppy. Hey, Bo. I hope you're doing good. I appreciate you joining us over here. Thank you for hitting the like. If you haven't hit the like and shared this live stream out, please do that because it helps to get this information out there. And the more that people see it, the more that they'll share Paul Flores information. So I really appreciate that so very much. Nightbot, present and accounted for. Don't make me throw you in the wood chipper tonight.
I was gonna say is Nightbot drinking already?
Look, it could happen. It could happen. Who knows? Zia Sandra,
No.
thank you for being here. I'm so glad to see you. I did have a creator that reached out to me, and I think I saw her in the chat. Texas girl. So good to see you. Cat's Eye. Always a pleasure. There's allegedly speculating. If you guys are not subbed up to her channel, you should go over there and check it out. I've been just watching in the wings. I did go in there and chat. She is sharing out Paul Flores' information. And y'all, she's just as sweet as pie. Like she sticks to the facts. She's been reviewing my last live stream and talking about it. And Zia Sandra has been on panel. And I just want to thank both of them so much for just sending me an email and asking if you could play that. Anyone's welcome to play my content. I just ask that people just share the information and just be respectful to the family, because really it's just about awareness and getting out the factual information. I just hate to see all the negative things that are going on this platform. Like, just makes me sick. So please please try to be kind, because we can all have a constructive conversation, but we don't have to attack these families. I mean, they're already going through so much. So if you guys aren't subbed up to her channel, go over there and check her out. She covers a lot of different cases, and no, she doesn't just talk about one case 365 days a year and beat it into the ground with a stick and talk about craziness. I mean, her name of her channel is allegedly speculating, but I find it quite refreshing, you know. So I hope you'll go over there and give her a listen.
I definitely check her out just because you say it so, don't you?
Well, I mean, I didn't even know about her channel until she sent me an email. And I just want you to know that when you guys send me an email to ask me to play my content, it really means a lot to me. Because I try to respect other people. If I'm gonna, cover a case and I'm gonna use somebody else's content, I always want to give them credit. you know, regardless if we agree or disagree on whatever it is, So, hey, Pearl Girl, I hope you're good. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. Hey, Stone Fox, hope you're good. Thank you for becoming a member. I really appreciate that so very much. Kitty Coo, always good to see you. You're making your bed? I'm actually, y'all. I'm kind of pulling a Betty right now. I'm in my bed, but it's because I'm on this heating pad because it's freezing here. So I got to be comfortable to get into all of this whiteboard stuff. Hey, Steph B, I hope you're doing good.
Yes. So
Hey, Whispers. Hey, LFT. Trying to get settled in. Oh, sounds great. You gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. If you guys received a membership from Allegedly Speculating, please thank her. That is so kind of you. Thank you for supporting the channel. It really means a lot. I just want to give everybody a chance to get in here before we, get started talking about this. Because once we get into it, I want to give everybody a chance to kind of be able to start at the beginning. Original 62. So glad to be here. So tired of the drama and fighting. Thank you for a break. You are so welcome. We just want to keep it focused on something that's helping somebody else because I just don't feel like getting involved in all of that is going to end well. And I don't think it's really helpful for people who actually have a real story and a real situation that they need to have awareness shared on. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing over here in our little neck of the woods, on our little streets over
and
here.
that's why I
Yeah.
appreciate the hell out of you because
Well, thank
you
you.
have you
Thank you. I
speak to the
appreciate that.
facts and
Hey,
you
Am.
cover these with dignity. So I appreciate the hell out of you, Dutch, more than you ever
Thank you.
know.
I appreciate that. Hey, Am. Am says, hello, everyone. Sending positive energy to all. Please use your complimentary crowbar to tap that thumbs up and share. This is a no drama zone. Absolutely. And that is not a threat, just so people know. That yes, the mods do have crowbars, but they're just little blue emoji wrenches. That's it. It's nothing more than that. Don't y'all be taking it too far. The 5 Canes, you've been a member for 14 months, all the way back to the Tyler Doyle case. I really appreciate your support, and I'm so glad that you're still here while we're talking about these cases. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so very much. 5 Canes always has good information. Like they always have good things to say. I hear my dog beating on the door. She's mad because she wants to come in here and say hey to y'all. She can't stand it when she can't be on camera. Chatty, thank you for being a member for 3 months.
Honey,
I
Zuzi is on
appreciate
my
it.
tail. You know how
He's
he is.
gonna end up eating a hole in the door. That's what Michelle told me because her pit bull ate through the drywall. And I can hear her. She's like, wham. She's throwing her body weight against the door.
Y'all know he think he the star of the show. Well, technically he is because everybody loves when he make his cameos. But
Yeah.
don't tell him that. Don't tell
Hey,
him.
Dan and Ida from Emmett, Idaho. I see you in my comments all the time. I hope you're doing good. Y'all don't forget to go hit the like button. My gosh, we have a lot of people in here. Hey, Elizabeth, I'm glad to see you. Hey, Air Force vet, you did tell me you was going to pop in here, so I'm glad to see you. Wait a minute, you have a cat on your head? Does that count? You're so funny, Elizabeth. Hey, Janelle, how are you? Thanks for being here. Hey, Tebow. Y'all, if I've missed anybody, I'm so sorry. Hey, Indian Girl 48, thank you for being here. I hope you're good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Music City Mom, I'm glad to see you. Hope you're good. Nonsense had a great live today, by the way, and it was so refreshing to hear you and Peekaboo. Pika, I just want to give you a shout out because, it takes guts to go on your first panel.
It does.
To go up there and you don't have a channel, you've never done that before. I just want to give Pika a shout out because she had really good positive things that I think in my mind that I don't always say. Like she's feeling the same way that I'm feeling,
Yeah.
So it's always refreshing to hear somebody that you haven't heard from, speak their truth about how they feel about something.
You know,
So
I joke with her all the time about it. I was joke messing with her today. I really didn't think she would go on panel, but as I stated in nonsense, if y'all only knew, because she really tries to stay anonymous for her own protection. So doing that took guts for real. Like
yeah,
I know
definitely.
I know her story. I know what she's been through. And she has been adamant since me and her have met and that she would never go on panels, for her
Right,
own personal safety.
right.
But with Sebastian's case, she's tired.
Thank you, True Love has 4 paws for gifting 5 memberships. If you received a membership, please thank True Love has 4 paws. You are so sweet. Thank you. And Elizabeth, you better stop that. You better stop that. You know I'll be checking up on you. I see all the places you are. You better behave, ma'am. Popcorn and M&Ms. I carry a bat and a crowbar. Is that okay? You have permission. We're going to start our own HOA over here, and it's the membership is free. Um, and don't be stealing our tip line, okay? That tip line belongs to us
I've
on the
been trying to
island.
figure that one out. I'm like, wait a
Yes.
minute, that's our line.
Flies, thank you so much for being a member. I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. It's been a while. Hey, Misfit Cooter. Good to see you. Hey, Aries. A bright future beckons. The honest is honest. Aries, you're always so funny with all of your little sayings. Through hard work, honesty, and integrity to reach for the stars. I love your little things that you put in chat. It's very, very uplifting. It was awesome to hear Pika. I want people to have a voice, and it takes a lot of guts, I think, to get up there and say that. So, hats off to her. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for being here. Now, I think Nonsense is going to come up and join us. I think she's having dinner, but she's got her whiteboard because we're going to have to write all this stuff down because it's a lot to keep up with. So
Yeah,
we're going
she's
to talk
supposed to
about
be
that
in the
here.
whiteboard.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Angels. Good to see you. Angels of Virtue. I love that name. I always love seeing your name in chat with the pretty print. I hope you're doing well. Yes, reminder to change to all messages. Don't be like Duchess and get stuck on top chat when you need to be on all chat notification because that's what happens to me. I get stuck on top chat and I'm just chit chatting away. And then, thank you, Chatty. Thank you. I appreciate that so very much. I know that means so much to them. So, where do we start? Where do we start? We've got to start with the flyer. So let me turn my camera off so you don't have to look at my ugly mug this entire time. Let me get over here. And of course, this is what I had up originally. This is the thumbnail that I made, and it has Paul's um, missing flyer that I made because I wanted to get all the information that I could in one concentric location to be able to pass that out. And I do hope that Cherries will be able to get a hold of some more accurate pictures. Like, I really need a better picture of the van at the gas station focused on that tag. Because from what I'm understanding, the van in Grants Pass, I did speak to his brother Vince, did tell me that they do believe that that van that someone saw going down the highway and gave the tag information to Paul's mother is not the same van as the van that was at the Pilot gas station in Chemult, Oregon. 2 different vans, 2 different people. So this information is thought to possibly be very incorrect. And really the only way to know is to get a better picture of that. So I'm hoping that people are passing this flyer out, hanging these flyers up, and that somebody will come forward and say, "Hey, I know the man and the woman in this white van."
Oh yeah, somebody know them. Most definitely. In a small town like that, somebody know them.
Elizabeth, I hope they are. I did let them know that it was going to be tonight, but they are on the West Coast, so they may just be getting home. So it may be, in after 9 o'clock, because they work and they have jobs out there on the West Coast, and this might be a little early for them, but hopefully they will be able to come over, or they are listening. So, but I wanted to be able to come in and say hey to everybody and kind of get a few people over here so that we can start talking about some of this information, because I need to make sure that we are documenting all of this down so we can have accurate information and kind of set the precedence of a timeline to make sure that we're all on the same page, because it's a lot of information. Elizabeth, I need an entire wall in my room that I'm working on in my art room. That's where I'm going to move my studio to. And I asked my husband what it would take to turn this one wall into a whiteboard. And he rolled his eyes at me and walked out. So I guess it's not going to happen. Darn it.
He said them honeydews is over
He
with.
said, nobody's going to buy a bedroom with a whiteboard wall on it. Because I'm literally using a bedroom as my art studio. So when I go to sell this house, like, they're going to be like, okay, explain to us why there's an entire dry marker board wall. And I'll be like, well, what had happened was it all started with this case and my YouTube channel.
But it's for a good cause. Put it like that. It's for a good cause.
Maybe if I autograph it, that you think that'll bring more money?
Possibly.
Now that is the definition of tragedy pimp right there. Yes, I'm going to autograph that wall, and it'll probably not. It'll probably bring $5 extra. That'll be it.
Don't shortchange yourself like that. You don't know who know you and love you to
Well,
death.
that's true. That's true. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, don't do that. Not while I'm around. Look here, don't shortchange yourself.
Elizabeth, you know that I love you. Elizabeth is a good friend. She's a sweetie, and she's also very catty also. So if you see Elizabeth somewhere, you better tell her, I'm going to tell Duchess on you. If you see her acting up, you tell her that I'm going to get her. Did you
Elizabeth
hear
don't
that,
care.
Elizabeth?
She don't care.
She knows I'm giving her a hard time.
I love her though. Me and her be tripping in the chat. Me and her go
She
back and
makes me
forth.
laugh. She makes me laugh. She makes me laugh. So, this case is a case of a missing 40-year-old adult, okay, that left home of his own free will. He said that according to his mother, he told his mom he needed to change his life. He had some things. He was trying to get out of this relationship he was in. He needed to get away from the situation. He wanted to move to Moses Lake, Washington. He's from Stockton, California. He needed to make a change. His brother and his family helped him get a vehicle. They had just been to Moses Lake, Washington the month before in June. Then they helped him get a vehicle so that he could move permanently up there to be near his children. And he was not going to be living with his children, though. He was going to be living with his nephew. Now, are y'all taking notes? Does everybody have their pens and pieces of paper? Because I need to get mine. I just realized that I laid mine over here on my desk. I'm literally reciting this off of this little notepad on my phone. allegedly speculating does, I promise, because she's probably going to play this live stream. And if you want a link to come up, you should come up and talk to us about it, because listen, she's they have talked about all the things. We've talked about all the possibilities. I've been in her chat. I've told her what I know, because I feel like, what are we missing about this? So this didn't start off nefarious. He didn't just take off on a whim. This was a planned trip that the family knew about. His kids knew he was coming. There was intent. He had already been to Moses Lake, Washington the month before. His family helped him get a vehicle. And so he heads off in July to make that permanent move to Moses Lake, Washington. Paul Anthony Flores, missing from Stockton, California, last seen in Chemult, Oregon. 40 years old, 5 feet 2 inches tall, weight 210 pounds, stocky guy, looks like he works out. He's got lots of tattoos. He's got full sleeves and a Raiders insignia on his chest. He wears glasses. Looks like he's got facial hair, like a mustache, goatee. He was last seen on July 21st of 2024 near Chemult, Oregon, when he was traveling from California to Washington to live permanently and work. Paul had made contact with people via phone and text that he did not know where his vehicle was, and he seemed confused. He told his mother that he was confused, which throws us back a year, according to his mom, where he and a supposed co-worker had an altercation in which Paul was hit in the head with a metal object and had head trauma. Just a year before this incident.
And nothing happened to the coworker.
And nothing happened to the coworker.
As far, yeah.
Paul was also known to be on antidepressants, but his mother said that he wasn't taking his medication like he was supposed to. And she doesn't even know if he was taking his medication at the end at all, because he's an adult. But, these are things that are red flags, because when somebody goes missing, we have to look at all of the situations involved, because the mom doesn't have any answer. The family don't have any answer. No one has reported that they have seen him. So apparently he texted a niece that he thought he was having car trouble, so he had to get a ride to a gas station. But then when he spoke to his mom, he said that he was confused. He didn't know how his car got out in the forest. In the forest, y'all, in the middle of nowhere. We have Paul's vehicle, and I'm going to get over here and share that picture real
I
quick.
was about to say, can you show that picture? Yeah.
Out in the middle of an OHV trail. And by the way, I didn't get in touch with Gray Hughes, but I did figure out how to get the latitude and longitude on my Google Earth. And I think that's going to be very important when we are looking, at where this location is, because when we go to these types of things, when I pulled this up today, if you guys can see this, let me share my screen here. Give me just a minute. This is the latitude and longitude right here. He is just a little south of Rivers South OHV staging area. So if we put this on 2D, this is what you're looking at. I mean, we're literally talking in the middle.
Yeah, he's
nothing.
far away from
Let's
any
blow this up.
roads. Yeah, that's way off.
I mean, if we take it all the way out, I mean, you're not going to China today, Elizabeth, because Dutchie got her act together.
Hey, that was funny though.
Okay. It was funny. We did go all the way to Mongolia, y'all, because you just never know when we might go to the moon. So, I do believe the last person in that it was ever speaking. Let me get over here because I want to make sure I see this on StreamYard because I want to highlight that comment. Let me see here. Hey, Erica, how are you? I hope you're doing good. Well, the van actually belonged to someone that we don't know. They just happened to be at the gas station when this Camry picked him up. So, and I don't think he was really using it as a temporary dwelling. I think he just had it really packed with all of his personal belongings headed to his destination. I don't think he was planning on like living out of his vehicle or anything like that for any, period of time. So it is interesting, how he got to that. Yeah, don't be on Top Chat like me. He was also messaging his cousin Lorenzo. Yeah, I knew there was several people that apparently said they had reached out to him. Let me get over here and check. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you doing that.
Go to the bathroom.
Okay, hang on here. And also, Sherry and Vince do have the link too. And Vince he may still be at work. He told me that Friday would be better, but I have plans and I'm not going to be able to go later than 9 o'clock. So that's why I decided to go ahead and do it tonight. Hang on a second. Let me get over here. Oops. Hold, please. Just checking something. Sorry, I apologize. I have to address something with my mom. So if you could give me just one,
No, you're okay. Handle your business.
I appreciate y'all being patient. Thank you. Hey, Karina.
I truly think something nefarious happened. I don't want to think like that, but that's what I think.
Thank you, Karina, for being here. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for your patience. I really appreciate that. Okay. I'm gonna drop a link in chat, and if you, Karina, want to come up, or Erica, and you want to talk to us, please do. Hang on one second. I'm grabbing this link. If you'll give me 1 second, I will drop it in the chat for you. This link is for Karina and Erica if they want to come up.
Hey, Dutchie, asked this good question. Were there any major fires in that area?
Yes, there was actually a fire in that area, and I do have the information about it. Let me see if I can get over here to find out where that is. I think there was a wildfire. I think it was about 5 miles away. Let me look here. I have way too many screenshots. Yes, there was the Diamond Peak Wilderness. That's in Klamath County. I think there was a red fire update. And that was more near like the Crescent Lake Junction. Zio Sandra's in chat. She could probably confirm this information. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's it. Thank you so much. There you go, Chico, right there.
Thank you. Well, Am had asked, so thank you for that.
I appreciate you, Zio Sandra. Oh, you're welcome, Elizabeth. Of course. Mind the Monsters, he's been missing since July. I just had his flyer up. We've got a couple of family members coming up here in just a minute. We're going to have a whole panel discussion. So feel free to join us if you want to. Paul Flores, missing since July 21st, 2024, near Chemult, Oregon, when he was traveling from California. Like I said, Kern County, in that area. He was going to move to Moses Lake, Washington. This was a permanent move. He was needing to get away from his situation where he was at. He wanted to start fresh. His family was helping him. And so he, was packed, had all of his personal effects in the car on his way. And he did contact his mom. He seemed confused, didn't know how his car got into this wooded area where his family found it, which again is here. And, he did text a couple of other family members about car trouble, except for that the car was full of gas. The car was able to be driven away. The police did look in general to see that it didn't look like anything, like there was any type of scene. There wasn't, I guess, any blood in the car. There wasn't, signs of a struggle, anything like that. So they did let the family take the vehicle. Paul apparently walked 30 to 60 minutes towards the highway, and that is where the Google Earth is going to come into play, because I'm going to show you the exact route that he probably would have taken to the highway, which is where he met a lady that worked in Crescent, and that is just north of Chemult. And she gave him a ride to the Pilot fuel station in Chemult. And at that time, he was trying to get a ride back to his vehicle. Apparently, he did not have on shoes. So he did buy shoes. He did buy Crocs at the Shell station. Apparently, after that, while he was at the Pilot gas station, he was there seen talking to a man and a woman in a van. And at that time, a white Camry, supposedly that did not have any tags. I'm not 100% on that, but that's according to his mother. She did not see any tags on the vehicle. This person, this gentleman got out, went into the store, and when he was coming back out, Paul began a conversation with him. They began walking together, and Paul got in the vehicle with him, and they drove off, and he has not been seen or heard from since.
I have a question for the family, and I know that they're probably still trying, but were they able to access his social media yet? Do we know?
Not that I've been made aware of. The mother was told by police that he's an adult and he could have went missing of his own free will, and that would be an intrusion of privacy. Yes.
That's unfortunate because I think that social media would possibly help at least the geotagging from the phone, but I
The
digress.
van that's in that picture that you see on the flyer, and here I'll show you another picture of the van. This is another picture of the Camry right here, and this is a picture of the van right here. And this van was actually somebody, Tebow, that was at the gas station that Paul was seen on camera from the Chevron station speaking to. There was a man and a woman in this van, and Paul was seen standing outside the van speaking to them until this Camry drove up. And then once the Camry drove up, apparently the man went in the store, and as he was coming back out, Paul began to walk with him and was talking with him, and then proceeded to get in the Camry, and they drove away. That 5'2" is the height that I have for him. Original 62. That's what I was given. If there's something different that the family wants me to change it to, they can let me know, but that is what I was given. Hey, the good Nunya. Thanks for being here. I hope you're doing good.
And see, Nanya, that's what I was wondering if, like, maybe the family has tried without law enforcement. I,
Yeah, to
I,
just
I
give it a
know,
shot.
yeah, I know what law enforcement said, but
You could
that's my
they
family.
could still try it. Yeah.
Exactly, that's my family, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to see if I can find my family. So, okay,
Karina
so
says
y'all have tried
yes.
logging in and not been successful. I got you. Thank you, Karina.
Yeah. That's good to know. Hey, Lila, thanks for being here. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing good. Hey, Roxy. Original 62, we did discuss some of that last time. Paul didn't have a history with hardcore drugs, according to his brother. Now I do know that Paul was incarcerated. That is something that his mother mentioned on the live stream, and I had a lot of people um asking me questions about, because of gangs and things like that, things going on in California. There's a lot of human trafficking, there's a lot of drug trafficking, there's a lot of gang activity in a lot of these areas. And that was a question that I was asked, because Paul does have some charges, but that doesn't mean that he isn't loved. That doesn't mean that his life doesn't matter, and that his family and his friends don't want him to come home.
Absolutely.
We can't judge, these situations. Everybody has a past. We've all done things that we're not, proud of, or things of that nature, and we try to do better and be better. It's when you're still, involved in some of these things that people get worried. People have concerns. Hey,
Hey, sorry I was late.
no, it's okay. Thank you for being here. Y'all welcome nonsense to the live stream. Thank you. Thank
Yay,
you.
the whiteboard has showed up. Okay.
It's a
Okay.
touchy subject, but, if we're going to work to help find missing people, we have to talk about the hard stuff because we're not here to judge the walk that they're on. We're not in their shoes.
No,
I don't stand to judge anybody. I will help find. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Their life is just as important as anyone else's life. So we can't judge what somebody has been through in their past, but we do have to consider the possibilities because it does sound like something nefarious happened. Who are the people that he might have known in the past? Did
thank you.
somebody have something out for him? Did he owe a debt to somebody that his family might not have known about? There's a lot of questions involved because no one is coming forward from this van to say, yeah, I talked to him. I saw him. Why? Why aren't the police actively doing more? I just have to wonder if it's because they've looked at Paul's history and they're just like, oh, well, he's just another guy that's been in prison, so we don't care. And
Dutch,
as much as I hate to say that, sometimes that happens.
Dutch, that is exactly what happened. If they're doing once again, and y'all know how I feel about this, if they're doing it to 16 and 15-year-old kids, what do y'all think they do about adults? This is no disrespect to his family. I'm just being serious. I see it in my state all the time. Dutch has seen it. They treat our kids like as if they ran away and will not look for them. So I can only assume that LE was like, well, he left on his own and that's that. And y'all should stop looking for him because it sounds like he wanted to leave everybody. And that's not how LE should approach this case. A part of me wonders, okay, what issues was he having for him to sit here and say, I want to change and I need to go be closer to my kids and go live with my nephews or nieces and things like that. What pushed him? That's one thing. And then my other thing is with him being medicated and not medicated for his mental health issues, could that have pushed him into a psychosis? And that's
Right.
why he was so confused.
Right. And and Carlos, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. The charges has nothing to do with him going missing. I don't necessarily think that it does, but I'm sure people will question it because anytime someone's been incarcerated, people want to question those things. But he's already done the time for whatever he's done. Now, I don't know Paul personally, but we have to give these people the benefit of the doubt because Paul may be missing not of his own free will. What if somebody did something to him? What if he got into this vehicle and an altercation took place and something happened? You know, these are the questions that I have because where's this Camry? Where's this person coming forward? I bet you they've seen the flyer. That's right, Terry. It's not a time for judgment of anything. We all have a past. None of us are perfect.
They're saying they're having a hard time joining.
If they're
The
on a Chromebook, they may not be able to because I've had people tell me that, or if they're on an iPad, I've had people tell me they've not been able to join the link because right now StreamYard has some kind of weird, funky thing going on with it. So if you're using one of those things, you may not be able to join for some reason. And I don't know why. It's a glitch that's happening with StreamYard. I had somebody tell me that it was happening on another stream. Are you guys using any of those types of devices? A Chromebook or an iPad or something like that?
Exactly, Kitty Coo. I don't see it. If he's sitting here saying, I want a different life and I'm finna go be closer to my kids, and then out of nowhere he just disappears. No, that doesn't even sound right. It doesn't. I mean, I know, weird things can happen. But this truly sounds nefarious to me.
Okay, Erica says he sent me his location because he was thinking the cops were chasing him. And I asked him, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm in the woods." That's when I asked him, "Hey, send me your location." Okay, so he tells you he thinks the cops are chasing him?
Uh,
See, that's not good at all.
that
Wait a
leaves
minute,
me.
Karina says, "No, I doubt that." I don't know what that's in response to. I'm a little behind in chat, y'all. Please.
Has law enforcement got their text messages from Erica? Have they looked into that at all? Like, so they could figure out what his state of mind was, maybe?
I'm not sure. One of the family would have to answer that question because I don't want to speak something that I'm not completely sure of.
It wasn't a Honda, it was a Camry.
Right, it was a Camry.
Just to make sure, I just want to make sure the facts is correct. Wasn't trying to be a bitch about it. Sorry.
No, well, the facts do matter. Jennifer, that is wonderfully said. The only difference between the saint and the sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Well said. Elizabeth said nobody knew he was going back to Washington, but yes, he has his things in his past he regrets. Okay, I was told that the family did know he was going back to Washington because they had just been there a month before that, according to his brother Vincent. They had went there in June, and that's when he said that he wanted to move there permanently to be near his kids. He was going to be living with his nephew, and he needed a vehicle, and they helped him to be able to obtain one so that he could make this trip and be able to make the move and have a vehicle so he could work and all of these things. Lila, it's very possible. I mean, I have to ask, myself, is he still out there wandering around in the woods? I do know they have gone up there and conducted some searches. I just have to ask also, where did law enforcement actually look? Did they decide to go out there and check it out for themselves? Yes, he wanted to start over, Elizabeth. That's what it was said. Hey, Lock 209. Good to see you.
I really think the cops didn't put much time in this, but that's just my opinion.
Right. The good Nunya says it right here. While his past matters for context, it doesn't matter for judgment, in my opinion. That's exactly right. Because if someone's not involved with certain things or doesn't have time that they have spent in incarcerated, or, you might look at things a little differently, because you do have to look at things as a whole, because what are the possibilities? Because when I think about things like that, I just wonder, I think about 1 year ago when Paul had an altercation with a supposed coworker that was never arrested for beating him in the head with a metal object. Okay, how exactly did that come about? I mean, was there anybody else that had, because the families don't always know everything that's going on in somebody's life. Like, would they have necessarily known anybody who has a personal beef with Paul? It's hard to say. I really hope that that's not the case, because it could just be a matter of circumstance where he met up with somebody nefarious and that meant to do him harm. We need so much more information. Right, the people in that car, I'm sure they know where they dropped him off or what happened on that ride.
How was they able to ride around the city with no tags? Because, baby, you can't do that here in my city.
I'm
You get
sorry you can't get the link, Erica. What girl's car, Elizabeth? I don't think it was a girl that picked him up. I think it was a guy in the Camry. Now, I don't know about the van. I can't see the tag on the van that's in the parking lot. But there was a man and a woman in the van, but there was a guy driving the Camry. But according to Cherry's For You, which is his mother, she says that she did not believe that Camry had a plate on it, but it's very difficult to see in that picture. I wish we had clearer pictures from the gas station to be able to see that.
Hey, Dutchie.
Mm-hmm.
Nunya asked, because Erica seems to be on the iPhone, she was asking if you could explain to her how to join from an iPhone. I would, but I don't have an iPhone, so there's
I don't have an iPhone, so I really wish I could tell you. Because I don't have an iPhone myself. I'm a Samsung girl.
Me too.
I just know that it's apparently a glitch that's happening with StreamYard is what I was told. I wish I could be more help, but I don't have an iPhone. Okie, thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you, hun. I appreciate you being a member.
Yeah, see, and like out here in the South, that is not gonna fly. If you ride down the street without tags, you getting pulled over. Like it doesn't fly here. But I know each state is different.
Hey, Burden. Thanks for being here. I hope you're doing good. Well, yeah, California is pretty expensive. I have family that live out there, and I don't know how y'all afford it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just saying. We have a special guest.
Now.
Hello. Welcome, Vince.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Erica says, plain and simple, he was looking for his car and he was making no sense. He got a ride from someone, maybe the guy. Now, the girl is the one who picked him up originally from the woods and drove him to the gas station originally and dropped him off. This was before the whole Van Camry situation. Yes, that was a girl that picked him up on the side of the road. That is interesting, though.
Okay, you're able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Vince.
Okay, yeah,
How
because it sounded like a delay.
It may be Wi-Fi related. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Just got home.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you were able to join us because I know people have a lot of questions.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff I wanted to clear up as well. Because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, and all the information is getting all mixed up, and it kind of gets irritating, even like being outside and watching from my point of view.
I'm sure. So if you want to talk to us and tell us what you feel like you want to explain to us, we are here for it.
Okay. Just trying to think if I can find the comment. Okay. So not exactly where to start. I guess from the beginning. Yeah, we did take my brother to Washington back in June. Um, the only reason why is he was trying to get away from one of the females that's in Bakersfield that he was staying with, and is the reason why he got put into jail in March. I guess they got into like an argument. He went to pick up some stuff, and I guess she ended up calling the cops on him, even though he's on parole, which he couldn't be around. Anything that had to do with cops. And apparently she used a bruise from when she got blood and then blood drawn. And then that's when the police took him for that. And then so when he got out of jail from that, he decided I'm gonna just get parole since I was already almost done, because he only had like 2 weeks left to be completely done with his whole program. So since he got put back in, he kind of added more time onto it. He kind of got frustrated with it because it's like he almost finished and he was going to be free from it and not have to worry. So he ended up deciding to go to Washington to be with his grandkids and his kids as well, and pretty much start a new life. He didn't want to go, but we did kind of convince him to like, hey, you know what, it'll probably be the best thing. You can start all over, be with your kids, be a grandpa, since they his kids barely had kids, so they're like not even 1 years old yet. um so from at that point in June, we sent them over there. He kind of didn't want to go. He went over there. We left him. Pretty much, I drove him. Me and my girlfriend drove him there, and pretty much left him there. Um, he was trying to get a job. He didn't have a car, so he was trying his best to get a car. Our nephew was willing to allow him to stay with him and have a room and help him out. And then in July, he ends up coming back, and I guess he got a train ticket from what's her name? Liz. So Liz gets him a train ticket. He comes out here, spends time with her, and then it ends up calling me up asking if I could help him find a car. During that time, we decided to go to a dealership that I pretty much get a car from all the time. Um, Out of all the cars, he wanted a little Toyota Camry just so he could get out there. But the one that I seen was Toyota Highlander, which is the car we ended up getting. He didn't want it because it's not his style. But I told him. So I pretty much told him that it's something different, something out of his normal, and because the way he is, he's had a bunch of tattoos and stuff. I was like, look, you'll be fine. Cops are not gonna mess with you. You'll blend it. So we ended up getting the car. The day that we got the car was the Friday before he left. I guess he was gonna leave that night, but I guess he ends up leaving on was a Saturday evening. It seems like when we looked at the GPS coordinates on where the car was, and then so when he gets out there, I don't really have everybody's um, messages going back and forth. It's all mixed up from what I've gotten from people. Because I know that Sunday morning, my nephew was calling me, asking me about him, and he was like, "Hey, what's up with your brother?" And it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, he keeps saying he don't know where he's at. He lost the car. He thinks the car is somewhere in the forest. He thinks he wrecked it. He thinks the car is in a ditch." And I'm just like, "Well, what are you talking about?" Um, the whole time he didn't hit me up for it, because I know he probably felt embarrassed that he couldn't find the vehicle. Um, we were the ones that we found the vehicle only because the dealership that we got it from allowed me to get the GPS coordinates of where the car was at. We didn't tell anybody because we wanted to get to the car so that way nobody messes with it.
Right.
We didn't want people like, oh, okay, well that's where he's at. Let's go look at the car, and then they do something to it. We wanted to make sure that that's where the car was at. I did see the pings of where he told people where that he thought the car was at. Um, and we thought the car would have been there as well, but from where the location was found from the GPS coordinates was kind of like way into the forest. Not sure how he got in there or why. But I know from what the detective told me on the videos that he's seen, it has a video of him in the back parking lot where the trucks are at. He says he sits there for about 2 hours and then takes off and leaves. Not sure if he's seen him put gas there, but the car did have a full tank of gas when we got there. He did mention to my nephew that the car was using a lot of gas. Mind you, he only left with $200 that he's gotten. Liz gave him $200 for gas to try to get back to Washington. He did have a job lined up for like an interview on that following Monday. Um, so when we did find the car, car looked like as if It looked like he was trying to hide somebody from somebody, but we couldn't really say yes. Um, car wasn't the car was pretty much untouched. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, it was broken down." Um, from where the location of the car was, he did run over a few bushes. Where the car was stopped, there was a tree stump that was down already, and it basically he ran over it, and that's where the car stopped. And then in front of the car was pretty much trees, so he wasn't going to go any further. But when we did get to the car, there was pretty much food in the passenger seat, just like a thing of cookies. There was water in the back seat, still there. All his clothes and stuff were still there. Car was locked when we got there as well. We kind of got scared that maybe he was still living in the car. Um, but when we got there, I think I want to say 3 to 4 days later, because he went missing on that Sunday. We end up getting the GPS coordinates on Wednesday, or was it Wednesday? Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. I want to say. But we end up leaving on Wednesday. Well, yeah, no, it was Wednesday. I got it on Wednesday. We left on Wednesday, and then went to go find the car. But other than that, on the car, we had the spare. I had the spare key for it. It pretty much turned the key on, and it turned on and ran. We were able to get it out of the location. We really didn't want to leave it there, because we didn't know what would happen with the cops. Because I'm the one that's reliable for it if he doesn't make the payment. So we didn't want them to just take the car and then we'd not see the car ever again, and we're paying payments on it and then not have it.
Right.
So we end up pulling it out of the area. We did get stuck a little bit, um, but it was able to drive out on its own power. From there, we took the car and drove to the location of where he pinged the car was supposedly at.
Is
But
that what's on the screen right now?
let me see if I can.
These coordinates. What are these coordinates from? These are
Let's
the
see that one.
coordinates that I was sent by your mom,
Yeah, I don't know what that one is.
which is right here by this River South OHV. And she said this is where the car was at.
And she's doing it on that.
Which, if I
Yeah,
turn this around,
yeah, if you turn it, yeah, because I think that's where he pinged, where the car was, where he thought
because
the car
down
was
here
at.
is the Chevron station
Yeah, because I think he
and
thought the
the
car was
pilot,
there.
and supposedly up here was near where she says is where his car was found. And I just wanted to verify that with you, Vince.
Yeah,
Can you zoom in on that a little bit more?
yeah, because that looks like where
Hang on a minute.
where he. Okay. Because that looks more of like where he pinged the car. Where he thought the car was at. No, you can tell right here because this is that main road and the turn. Because right here is where you go up, and then the split is
Now,
right
I
here.
do think Erica was saying in chat that she asked him to send her his location. And that I didn't know if that's where these coordinates came from or if this was the GPS coordinates that you obtained from the car company. So that's why I wanted to ask where
Okay, yeah. So it looks
these
like the one that my mom sent. It looks like the one that he sent to everybody, or I'm not exactly entirely sure who he sent it to.
Okay.
But that does look like the coordinates that he put that he thought the car was located. Mind you, in that location, we did go up in that area. It's a steep incline to get to that location. One of our vehicles that we use, it struggled a little bit to go up it. So it's kind of odd because when you get to the top of it, it's pretty much flat, and it looks like people actually camped in that area. And it was a higher elevation
So it
compared to
looks
where the
like he
car.
would have, yeah. If someone was going to pick him up, it would have probably been on this main road. I mean, this looks like Well, that looks like a dirt road. This looks like the main thoroughfare right here.
Yeah, so
So,
that big opening is pretty much all like power lines.
oh wow.
Yeah. But right where he pings it, it's pretty much up on top of a hill from that area right there. And then everything else is like going downhill.
So, Vince, I have a question that was asked earlier. With you saying it was a campground, was there flyers put up in the campground area
Well,
about
it
your
wasn't
brother?
it wasn't like a public camping area. It just like it looked like something that, somebody went up there and like would stay the night or something. It wasn't
Got,
necessarily like a campground. But
gotcha.
you could tell that somebody stayed there at one point. Not saying that he stayed there, but there's a lot of traffic that's in that area.
Yeah, so pretty much where those trails are, a lot of ATVs and dirt bike riders go. So it's not somewhere that is
Okay.
just like, you know, just a vacant, open trail area where no one is. There's always somebody there. And one of the days that we went there, there was actually a park ranger in there putting flyers on one of their little, what is it called?
Uh,
Can't remember what those things are. They were like refilling the maps and stuff. So there's people in there.
Right.
yeah, it just
That's
the
good to know.
location of where the car was at. It doesn't seem like it would get too much traffic. When we did go in, like after I want to say a couple weeks after, there were fresh dirt, pretty much dirt bike tracks. So pretty much showed that there were some people going in there and riding around.
The Good Nunya says, how far away, distance or time? Um, how far away, like what are we getting the distance from? You mean from the main road?
From the main road, it would be like a couple minutes. It's not. It's in there, but not like far into there. Um,
So pretty much where his car was, where we found it, you could hear the highway from where the car was.
Mm.
Yeah,
so
so he was pretty close. You couldn't see it from where we found the car.
yeah, and then from part of the timeline, from what I've kind of put together myself, when he did get the vehicle in there, had it been at least after 2:40 at night a.m. It is pretty dark. Not exactly sure why he would turn off into that road. I did told him that the car was four-wheel drive, so when we first bought the car, he's like, "Oh, so I could take it off road." So I'm not sure if he had that in his mind at that time. But I do remember that the roads were blocked off for fires, which was a couple days prior, which would have been, I think, on that Thursday, Friday. Not exactly sure if it still was closed or if any cops were in that area.
Are
I
these
do.
roads are these roads sandy? What's the
What-
terrain
Yeah,
like? I mean,
it's gravel. It's a mixture of gravel and then dirt. The,
okay.
the where he went, he turned into the service road, which was gravel, and then the road that he ended up taking to where the car ends up going turned into dirt.
I think the Good Nunya was wanting to know the distance from his car location to the dropped location, but I'm not sure that we know that. Nunya.
Um,
If Vince can send me the coordinates from the car, I mean, I could probably tell you.
yeah. So from where the car was located to that area, you would probably take a little, I would want to say probably 10 to 15 minutes if you're going through the forest and trying to get to the car. But in order to go from that location to where the car was, saying going through the trails, you're looking about a good couple minutes just trying to drive through because you would have to go back around.
Mm.
So, how often did do the rangers go through there if they're replacing the maps? My question basically is, If it is a traffic area like with dirt bikes, ATVs, and things like that, how come nobody saw the vehicle?
Well, that's the thing. So where the staging area is, that's a common spot for a lot of people that brings trucks with the trailers and then take the ATVs off. The only thing is the trail that he took was more of a like a side, little side quest.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's still kind of weird on why he would just turn down that dirt road.
Oh,
It's heavy with trees. Not, it doesn't seem like that many people would take that way. Mainly because it's kind of off trail a little bit.
got you.
And Vince, he did not have any problems with anyone that you are currently aware of. And there were also no dogs that were put out by police to go search for your brother, correct?
Correct. The only thing, because usually he would tell us if somebody was looking for him, or the only thing is he does get paranoid with like cops. So say if since he skipped parole, I'm pretty sure he would be scared if he seen lights. Um, because then that means he'll end up getting pulled over or something. Um, because throughout his childhood, he was in and out of like juvenile hall and stuff like that. So he even had he even had issues to where he was beaten by cops on certain
Mm.
instances. Um, as he was growing up, because I remember a lot of him going in and out, and then like he would get drunk, have fun, and then he would just kind of like take off and try to be by himself, and then ends up getting caught by the cops, and then he ends up getting tased or beat up by the cops. But that's what I said. Maybe if he's seen lights and kind of scared him a little bit, spooked him, and then he's like, "Oh, I got to take off. I'm gonna go this way," and then kind of like hide, because that's how the car kind of looked like, is as if he was trying to get away from someone or something, and kind of like ditch like and just hide the car and then sit in there and then wait a little bit. That's the way that the car looked.
But it does seem unusual, don't you think? I
It
mean,
does. It does seem a little bit unusual. Um, don't know. Like I said, we still don't know why, or what was going on. Because I do know that he had like a little weed pen with him, so he is a functional person when he smokes weed. So it's not like something he's like, oh yeah, forget whatever.
but that was in the car though.
Yeah, that was in the car, and then there was another one in the luggage.
Okay. All right. And Cold Case Crystal had asked, was there any scent dogs? You said no.
Yeah, so
We're not
when we pulled the vehicle out, we end up parking it at the in Crescent. We
right.
sat there and waited for believe the detective and was it the state trooper? State trooper, I believe, came from was it Bend, and then the sheriff and detective came from Klamath Falls. When they did come to the vehicle, we let them know what was going on, because I guess when he first went missing, they really couldn't open up, or they couldn't report a missing um a missing person report unless family members got there. So
Mhm.
that 4 days after that we got there, then that's when they're like, okay, well, we'll put a missing, a report out. But we did let them know that he was supposed to report to parole. They did search the car when we had it. They went through his luggage. They went through his clothes. They found his paperwork. They even seen the money that he had in his car, and they counted it just to make sure. Um, but since we pulled the car out and there was no signs of anything, and they pretty much took it as if he just wanted to disappear.
So he wasn't currently skipping parole or anything like that.
He didn't report, so he just pretty much just left.
Got it. Okay. And was there any footprints outside the car?
So after they inspected the car, the state trooper left, and the detective and the sheriff wanted to go back to the area that the car was located. So we took them back. They looked around for footprints. They did find some footprints that were around the car, which was his.
Mhm.
Um, and then they kind of like scanned the area going towards the freeway a little bit, and they did found a few footprints from his shoes as well. But that's pretty much about it. And they did get a few pictures of the footprints.
Okay. And Crystal wants to know if he has any gang affiliations.
So for gang affiliations, I'm pretty sure when he was younger, yes. Last that I know he said he doesn't mess with that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like I'm not too entirely, sure. I've never really seen him with a bunch of people and doing a bunch of reckless stuff. It's pretty much him by himself.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I did ask you about that because I was wondering, um, because he does have the Raiders tattoo.
Yeah,
And
that
some
yeah,
people
because he's a strong like football
affiliate
fanatic.
that, the Raiders. I mean, there are sports teams that are affiliated with gangs, and, it's just a question that you have to ask, because that also leads into, did he have any beef with anybody? Because if he still talked to any of those people, like it's always good to just have a complete understanding. So I really do appreciate you, Vince, just answering these questions because it really helps us to have a complete understanding of, you know, everything that's going on with Paul. Because I have so many questions, and the chat has a lot of great questions, and I really appreciate all of y'all being here. Um, I know that he didn't have any shoes on, and he did buy Crocs when he went into town. Is that correct?
Yeah, so by the time that he parked the car, not exactly sure at what time or point that he ends up leaving the vehicle. That's when how we found the vehicle. Everything was locked. It looked like he went through his clothes. It did look like he changed his clothes. He left his wallet in the car. Um, I'm pretty sure he still has the keys on him. Because the car was locked, and it did look like he walked towards the freeway because the back end of the car was facing the freeway, and you could hear the freeway running. Um, we know exactly what shoes he was wearing at the time because my girlfriend is the one that packed his stuff the first time we took him to Washington.
Hmm.
The shoes that he always wears are like Air Sport or Air Maxes, I believe.
Okay.
The set that he was wearing were red. And then I believe I'm not exactly sure where he would end up losing his shoes because I know they said that on.
So they were never found.
Yes. So when we were waiting for the detective and the sheriff to like release the car to us, they went to the Shell gas station and kind of see if they could find any videos of him. They did see a video of him walking from the Shell gas station, walking north across to like the other stores, and it showed him without any shoes, and that was like at
Mm.
8 o'clock in the morning. They said that he was
Okay.
barefooted. So he was wearing red shorts, a white shirt, and and pretty much no shoes on.
Okay.
Um, and then someone mentioned that he got a ride from Crescent to Chemult in like a small pickup truck. And then from there, that's when he gets to Chemult, which is at the Pilot gas station.
Okay.
And then from there, that's when he buys. I guess they see him buying Crocs from the store. And
Okay.
then from there, I guess they said he just sits. He's in the subway, I believe, sitting down, but they couldn't really see the video of him
And where did he
him,
buy the Crocs at? Do you know?
at the Pilot store.
At the Pilot store, he bought the
Yeah,
Crocs.
yeah, because
Okay.
the Pilot store has a subway built into it.
Got it. Okay.
I'm
So
pretty sure that's when
Elizabeth
he's using the
speculating
Wi-Fi.
is asking here, the wallet was found in his pants in the car. Was that after he purchased the shoes at Dollar General, but he actually purchased that at the Pilot station, which means that his wallet was in the car, so he must have had money in his pocket?
Yeah. So he doesn't have
Okay.
any. So one question I know a lot of people ask about his like credit cards or banks and stuff. The thing with him, he doesn't have a bank and he has no credit cards. He did have a food stamp, like a food stamp card.
Mhm.
But I don't think he had it with him at the time. But the only thing that he mainly carries was cash.
Okay. And Kitty Coo, he was on an antidepressant, is what his mother had told us. But she wasn't sure that he was taking that. He said he didn't like the way that it made him feel. So she felt like that he probably was not taking the medication that was prescribed for him.
And there was, when he was buying the Crocs, there was no indication of weird behaviors or anything like that. He was pretty much acting normal, correct?
Yes, from what the detective told us about, like how he was acting and everything, they said that everything seemed normal.
Okay,
That he's pretty much had no care in the world, and he was just a normal person.
Now,
gotcha.
were with the shoes that his red Air Max that he lost, when you guys were out there searching and looking in the woods, you guys have not found his shoes. Is that correct?
Correct. We haven't really found him at all. We're still
Okay.
trying to figure out where, because we're still trying to figure out which way he went. But we weren't sure which way. If did he go down the mountain from where the car is to where the freeway is, or did he take a trail and then something could, like maybe an animal was trying to chase him and he lost his shoes, but we're not entirely sure. Because I do
Yeah.
know when we did pick up the car and we started getting onto the freeway, we did notice there was a large wolf, but I'm not sure if that was anything related to to
Right.
anything.
Now, the good Nunya says, you mentioned his pen that he had, in the car that keeps him chill. But what was he like if he didn't have that?
Just like normal, normal because he does have. It seemed like he has ADHD. Because he gets kind of like little fidgety, a little bit, little hyperactive. He's like a big kid, pretty much, and it kind of pretty much mellowed him out a little bit.
And we don't know exactly why he was taking the antidepressants.
Yeah.
His mom doesn't really have, all of the information, but she did know about that. And of course, we know that he had the head injury a
Mm.
year ago where he was attacked by a supposed coworker with a metal object, and he did have head trauma from that. So, when all of this is taking place, he's disoriented. He says he doesn't know how he got in the woods. He thinks that the cops are after him. It just leads me to have not good feelings about, the possibilities that
Yeah,
it could.
it's a little unusual. And then like for the gas station part, we did when we did go, we did ask like the gas stations and everything. They didn't want to answer our questions. We even tried to give them a flyer like, hey, have you seen this person? And they just looked at us and like, nope. And they're like, well, you don't have no cameras, and they're like, nope. And then they didn't want to say anything up until the sheriffs got there, especially at the Shell gas station in Crescent.
I think the sad part is, Vince, I've had a couple of locals that have lived there their whole lives, that have reached out to me. And I'm going to be allegedly speculating, like allegedly speculating in the chat when I say this. They told me that the cops were not going to be much of a help. And one person in particular was explaining to me that her own brother was unalived in that area, and that cops did not investigate or try to find out who did this, and did not hold them accountable, did not try to search to find out who did this, to take them to justice. And I said, well, that's terrible. And she said, well, that's because the very people that you think that you have to worry about, the gangs and the people that are trafficking humans and drugs, well, those are the people that are working for these agencies. And it blew my mind. And I said, are you kidding? And she said, no. She said, the very people that's supposed to be protecting you are the people that are involved in bad, bad things. And she said, and that's why I'm really concerned about Paul, because I'm afraid they're not going to do anything either, just like they didn't for my brother. And that really made me feel terrible because, I mean, is it really that hard to believe?
You know me, Dutch. You no.
I know Chico. I mean, Chico's from Tennessee, Memphis, and she knows all about corruption.
Yeah, so when we were out there, because there's people that used to live in that area as well, and they even told us that those parts of the Oregon are pretty much racist. We did run into a little bit of that when we were there. Mind you, my girlfriend is black, and then we're Mexican. A lot of the people that were there were white, and there were a lot of them don't like outsiders pretty much. So when we were going into the stores and sitting at the parking lot, they just pretty much kept staring at us. And they didn't want to help us at all when we were there trying to pass out flyers as well. So getting that vibe from that area, you kind of don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And,
And
they were making it pretty like well known,
Mm,
Mm.
that's so sad.
especially
Okay,
for
Chris.
being yeah,
So,
especially for
so
being in California. A lot of states they
yeah.
don't like people from California. Because we're pretty much had 3 cars there with California plates, and we even kept seeing the same car keep like pass by us multiple times, and we thought it was kind of weird as well. We're just like, okay, that's odd. And there was like a truck that was kind of kitty corner from us, just sitting there watching us.
Now that you said that, that makes me think something completely different.
Yeah, because my girlfriend, we drove
That's
through
not good
a
at
couple.
all.
Yeah, we drove a few streets in there in Crescent area. We passed one house and she kind of got uncomfortable because they had a Confederate flag that was pretty much blasted all over their garage area, and the people were sitting there outside staring at us. And she's like, "Yeah, we need to go."
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Please be safe while y'all were going up there and searching for him. Cold Case Crystal said, "What's LE like in the area?" I asked because I knew a girl from that area that didn't even turn in assault in the area because of dirty cops. Wow. That's not good. No Tebow, not that I'm aware of. He was not on anti-seizure medicine that I'm aware of. Um,
Yeah, so when that concussion happened and he got out the hospital, he got referred to go get checked, but he never went back.
oh
So we
my.
couldn't really tell if he needed medicine for that, or if he had a head injury. There was no since he didn't go back, there was no proper diagnosis.
Right. LFT, the only footage that we have is from the Chevron gas station, and that is actually across the street, kind of catty corner, diagonal from the Pilot gas station in Chemult. That is where the footage actually came from of the van and the Camry and Paul speaking to those people. It was actually seen from across the street on the Chevron camera. But
Yeah. So
is
like
there anything else?
so when I did go, I want to say the second or third week. It was the last week that or it was before the last week that we went. Um, one of the pilot's managers allowed me and my mom to watch the cameras. When I did see part of the camera video of him, um, you can see the car pretty much drive going south past the gas station, turn around, drive back north, turn around, and then head back south and stop at the Pilot gas station. Um, Even the detective confirmed that the guy in the Camry never went inside the store. Um, the only person it was kind of hard to tell if the people in the van went inside, which is a possibility.
Okay.
Um, so when I seen the video, the Camry pulled up and went to the van to talk to them. From It was kind of hard to see, but you could kind of like vaguely see it. And
Okay.
then you see him come out the store, my brother. You can see him come out the store and go around the pumps and then kind of darts across, like walking across towards the van. Um, then you see them talking a little bit, and then you see him getting inside the car with the guy from the Camry. And that's from the video I seen from the Pilot gas station. They try to see if they could get different views,
Right.
but the whole gas station pumps were kind of like blocking the way, but you can see the cars.
Very interesting. I'd like to see some footage from that too. Um, I just wanted to ask so I could make sure that I let LFT know the. And she also talked about, did you see anything notable or out of the ordinary in any emails or social media prior to his disappearance? I don't think they have access to get into it, but does he have social media? Did you notice
Uh,
any
so
strange posting or anything that he made prior to this
so
trip?
he does have a Facebook. He
Okay.
doesn't post on there that much. The only thing that he'll post would be like him relaxing. He did have a few videos of him on a boat with our nephew, drinking a beer while they're on a boat. Um,
Nothing
it's
wrong with
more of
that.
like yeah, it's more of like he does like family stuff and post it on there. Other than that, when
Okay.
I did see him when he did get the car, he was happy. Didn't seem like anything was bothering him. He was more excited that he got a car and that he could go find a job. Because he even had papers for a job interview, and he even had his resume with him. So he was
Yeah, I
pretty much
remember you telling
excited.
me that.
He's pretty much like a kind of like a dog seeing his owner from 8 hour work shift, all happy and ready to go. That's pretty much the energy that he has.
Okay. And Mike says, sure he knows might go back to jail, but why didn't he take the weed walking? I feel like he's just running now. Hopefully he'll show up. I'm curious if his ID was in his wallet in the vehicle. Was his ID in his wallet?
Yeah, everything was pretty much in his wallet still.
Yeah. Very curious. Mike, thanks for your comment. Hope you're well. Um, I agree, Misfit Cooter. No human should have to feel profiled in 2024. We are past that. That never should have even been a thing. Um, who are we to be judging people? I mean, I'm just very concerned for your brother's well-being because there's all these pieces that don't really go together in a positive way, Vince,
Yeah.
It just
So
feels like something is really wrong here. And, the fact that he was disoriented, he thinks that the cops are after him. He pulls off into this road. Now, was there a sign, by the way, saying that like this was a service road versus it was OHV trails? I mean, what did it
um,
look like when you pulled off of this main highway, which I think is what the Dallas Highway is? Doesn't that run right along there? 90, not 97 or something like that?
I believe there was a sign. It's been good couple months since I've been out there. Uh, in that area, it's kind of unusual to see it at night because it's real dark at that time. I know he did mention to my nephew that his eyes were burning because of the smoke from the fires that were going on at the time he was driving. Can't really tell the conditions of that night that he was driving, but one night that we did go down there,
Mhm.
it was pretty foggy. Um, it was kind of hard to see. So seeing that entrance to the service road would be kind of difficult to see, especially when you're driving like 70 miles per hour, because that's what the car said it was doing at that around that time before he turned off.
Right, right. And
But
the
it
good
i- it
news.
is a big opening for when you just turn up in there, and then it pretty much goes into like a almost like a 2 lane. Um, I want to say almost a 2 lane, but it's not.
Okay. Okay, well, good, because I saw the good nun you had asked, that earlier, about, was there a sign? So the good nun, I just wanted to make sure that you knew I didn't forget about you. And she also wanted to know, so the Shell gas station had no footage or they weren't willing to give any footage?
So at first, when we asked, they didn't want to help with us. They didn't want to cooperate. We even gave a flyer, and the guy kind of like brushed us off. And we're like, okay, well, can we leave the flyer here? And he's like, yeah, whatever. So okay, well, cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so we left him. Um, and I guess when the detectives and then first try to go ask the Shell gas station, they kind of said no, that there's no footage. After that, one guy came running and was like, "Oh, we think we see him." And then that's when they went to go see, and then that's when they found him without shoes.
I see. Thank you for that information. Hey, Ghost Eagle Guardian, thank you for being here. He says that part of Oregon sucks. I lived there before, and as an Indigenous person, it is bad as well. Thank you for being here, Ghost Eagle Guardian. I appreciate you so much. I know he lives on the West Coast, and I'm so glad you popped in to hear this story. It's really sad, how people are treated. Sandra says, so between the date you reported to authorities and now, have there been any updates from law enforcement to date?
From when I contacted the detective to see if there's any updates on it, pretty much there's really not much. The only thing that they've done was they were able to I think somebody was able to get the plates off the van. They did contact the owner to the van, which the van was registered to Grants Pass County, I believe. They did contact them. They asked them if if they were there at that time. They said that they frequent the area, but they weren't. They said that they was not there at that day, but they did say that they frequent go back and forth from Grants Pass to Chemult area.
So this is the one that the tag was sent in because the van was seen in another location, and we're not sure if this is the same van or not.
Yes,
Okay. So we're
but
still
I know
looking.
the van is very distinctive.
Mhm.
It's pretty much Econoline, with a camper on top of it, so it's a conversion. So it's not something that you're gonna see common like the Camry. So
Right.
if that van did pop up, it's pretty noticeable.
Ghost Eagle Guardian, you live up from there? You may have to get with me. I may need to talk to you. I may need to see if you can give me some inside information. Maybe if you're able to ride in that area, see what you can find. Because listen, he's not been found. I just wonder if he is out in those woods somewhere. Because we got to find this guy with the Camry. That's to me, that's the key.
Yeah, 'cause like I try to tell my mom and my sisters because they're like we have to find him. I was like I understand that, but when he gets in the car with the Camry and heads back north, that's pretty much what we're left with. It's kind of hard to tell which way they went. They had I don't know if the detectives try to like look at other cameras because there's not that many cameras in that area. They do have cameras for the roads, but they're live, they're not recorded. So we
Hmm.
don't know exactly how far that Camry took them. That's the only thing it is pretty much the gray area is which way did they go? Did they try to go back into the forest? And if did he like really try to go find the car, or the guy left them? So that's the only thing
Exactly.
that's kind of hard to tell because I know my sister's like, oh, he's there. We have to go here, and but the thing is, it's kind of hard to tell exactly where he went
Yeah.
if we only know that the car went north.
Yeah, because maybe he never took him to the woods. Maybe something else happened. Maybe he tried to take him somewhere else. And
Yeah,
Paul's like, this isn't what we're doing. And there was, something could have happened. Cold Case Crystal says if the citizens threatened Paul just like they, treated you guys when you were up there, just looking for Paul, how would Paul react if they did him like that? Could it be a hate crime? What are
It-
your thoughts?
so the way he is, he doesn't act upon certain stuff unless he starts feeling threatened. He does stand his own ground. Um, but he's easy to talk to. But if somebody's trying to fight with him, he would most likely fight back. He is a even though he's a short guy, but he does handle himself pretty good.
we're gonna hop over here to back to the Google Earth again because the good Nunya says, Duchess, is there a way to pull up the gas station on Google Earth to kind of have a visual of what he's saying the angle is? Absolutely. I've got my Gray Hughes hat on because I didn't even have to call Gray Hughes. I finally figured out how to put those coordinates in. So if we go down here to this area right here, here is the Pilot Travel Center. You can see this is where all the 18-wheelers park in the back. Here's the gas station right here. And then these would like be the pumps
Yeah, so on your
right here.
your
So I'm
screen right there.
assuming that
So if you see where that white car is right there on the street, next to your arrow, that's where pretty much where that Camry was located. So that car right there, it was pretty much parked right around
kind of
that area. And then if you look
it's parked
to
right here on the side. And the
yeah,
van would have been
so that's
parked
where
in one of these spaces. Okay.
a little bit more over. If you see kind of like a little white car that's parked in the slot, yeah, a little bit more, and it'd be like right in that area,
Okay.
and that's where the
Interesting.
van would have been parked.
So then you've got the Chevron station right here. And I marked that because this is where the footage of that van and Camry, and I'll show you guys when I hop back over there, those pictures, that is something that Cherries took from the footage at the Chevron station that's facing the Pilot station. So, um, now where is there a Shell station by here, or is that back on up here? I think the only other Shell station is,
It'd be a Crescent City. So
I
the
think
car was
there's one up
located.
here somewhere.
Yeah, so
I
the
don't
car
think
was
it's right
located in
there.
between.
Crescent City, that's where the Shell
Yeah.
station was.
Yes. So the car is pretty much located in the center, between the two cities.
Ah, here we go. All right, so we got this Shell station, and that's on the corner right here of an intersection. There's, I mean,
Yeah,
not sure what
and that's
all
pretty
these
much
places are, but I mean,
yeah, because right across the street is the Dollar General, and that's where the video
there's
shows
not a
him
lot in
walking.
this area
Yeah,
from
and
here. Okay,
that's the only thing I wondered with the detective
interesting.
if the detective even tried to look at those cameras, to get a timestamp of from when he left in that car. Um, that's the only thing is he hasn't really told us that they try to look. Because I know if you get a timestamp of where if that car passed that area, we would know exactly where he would be at. But he pretty much didn't say anything about it.
Take it to road view. Wait a minute, how do I do that? What, take it to road view? Is this not road view? Layers.
Y'all gonna blow Dutchy
That's gotta
balls.
listen, we can't go to the moon yet. Not with Vince on panel. If we go to the moon, I don't want to be flying the Google plane either. The good Nunya, did that answer any of these questions? The street view. Okay. Let's see. This is everything. Okay, so here is the street view of the area where the Shell is. You can see there's a restaurant. Here's a Dollar General across from the Shell. And then I can take you back down to the other end. Is this not street view?
I'm sorry, I just have a problem with them not checking other cameras because I have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that sucks is once he gets in the car and they head north, that's where pretty much everything just goes straight cold. We don't know if he went towards Eugene, or we don't know if he went towards Crescent, and it's a big area. And then when we did go try, we end up driving down a few of the trails. There's a good amount of trails before we get to his car,
Yeah.
and
So-
like and like
There is
some like some,
literally there's just nothing out here.
yeah, and then some of the trails like they were like they were kind of small trails. Even like our car was getting scratched by the trees just by driving through them.
So, and I take it y'all have called like hospitals and possible jails and other
Look at it
locations.
from this
just to make
standpoint,
sure.
because this is the way the Chevron would have been taking that picture.
Yeah, so we did try to
Would be
contact some of the jails around there to see
because the
maybe he was
van
in
would
there.
be sitting over here.
So we did try to call some of the jails, but there was nothing there. We tried to call some of the hospitals, but they wouldn't give out any information
Of course not. Usual.
for privacy. Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of possibilities of cameras right here. I mean, look at all of these different places. You're telling me that all these, the Dawson House Lodge, the Inn Motel, KJ's Cafe, you're telling me all these places that don't have cameras also? Or even back up, like there was a post office, there was a Dollar General across from the Shell station. It seems like there's a lot of places, but they just don't want to help, Vince.
Dutchie. Click on the man icon at the
Okay,
bottom.
click on the man. Oh Lord, what
yeah,
just happened?
yeah. Because there was one thing where
Click the
when we
highlight.
brought his car back to the house, we did go through all his stuff just to see if we could find something. We did found his
Oh Lord.
second phone,
Okay, that
but
scared me.
yeah, we had his second. We found his second phone that he had with him. It didn't have a SIM card or anything on it. I did notify the detective about it. And then that's when he told me that unfortunately, since they have video of him getting into a car willingly, that they can't really do anything. Because that's all I was like, well, maybe you could access his, Facebook or something. But they said since he went into the car willingly, they cannot do anything due to privacy. They said that they have to wait until after 6 months of being missing before they could even do anything. And they said that to just keep his phone charged up, and so if anything happens, then I could just send it to him. But I think they're waiting until that 6 month mark.
What
Okay.
the?
Yes, we're in the car with the pink strap on the front. I don't know.
What? 6
I
months.
think
Wait a
Crystal's
minute.
up here to drive the car.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Y'all are gonna have to wait 6 months to actually file a missing person report.
Well, we have the missing report.
Oh,
He just said we can't that. Well, they can't do anything legally until after 6 months of missing. Only because say if he's hanging out at a beach with another family,
yeah.
and he finds out that they accessed all his stuff without him knowing,
It's a
then
violation.
he could pretty much go back and sue them for privacy.
Right. It's a violation of privacy laws.
Yeah.
That
So
I
that
understand
so
that.
what they're
Right.
trying to do is pretty much follow guidelines before they could even try to look for him.
I'm sorry, Vince, but that's the dumbest guideline I've ever heard.
I was about to say, it sounds like a cop out to me for them not
I
to
know.
do their damn job, but that's just me, and I'm sorry because
Oh yeah.
I deal with a lot of corrupt cops, so like that's where my mind is going. Like corruption, something is just isn't right with this.
And now you want to go to the Shell, the Good Nunya? I'm taking y'all riding everywhere. Yes, please put your seatbelts on because we might start flying. Hey, Center, thanks for being here. I hope you're doing good. I wonder what happened to Nonsense. I saw she wasn't on panel. She might have had to drop. Maybe she'll be back.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can hear you.
Okay, I had come up here to tell you to hit the little person, and then it's gonna light up blue.
I started
Because
saying,
I'm the
Crystal, you're the expert at driving the Google car and the Google plane. So, all right, let me get back out here so I can go back up to this Shell station for Nunya. I mean, where am I going? I'm lost. I think I've got to turn myself around. Wait a minute. Do I got to turn myself around this way? No, I was going the right way. Okay. All right, here we go. Shell, here we go. Shell station. Dun, 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 dun. Look at that. Look at that. All right, there's the Dollar General. They definitely would have had cameras there.
Cameras in there. As
And
much
here's
as
the Shell station.
zoom in and see if you can see any cameras.
Camera right there. There's a camera on the thing right there. Look.
yep,
See my icon
And a lot of your, I was
on the
wondering
corner
what
of the
kind of
thing?
gas pumps
Yeah, right
they have,
there.
because a lot of your gas pumps have cameras inside them as well, if they're the new ones.
I mean, I don't know if that's a camera. I'm not sure
it doesn't look like the
exactly what
newer.
they got going on right there. I don't see any cameras around the don't see any
You know
cameras
the
around the side. Surely they got
the
one on the
gas
door
pumps
and they
that give you a commercial.
I bet you there's another
I'm
one of
sorry,
these.
it's
I know what you're talking about, Crystal. They show like the TV screens on them and
Let's
all
go
of
look on this
that.
side.
I know exactly what you're
yes,
talking about.
those all have because it's using a you can pay with your debit card. All of those have cameras on them.
So the only thing about those two cities, they're
Oh, I've
pretty.
only seen one camera.
Yeah, those places are pretty much outdated. Some of them cameras work. Some of the places didn't have their cameras didn't work.
I just don't believe Dollar General. I don't because they get robbed all the damn time. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, so the sheriff went
Our Dollar
inside the
General
Dollar
gets
General to
robbed
try to
too.
get video.
Uh-huh.
And he said that like it wasn't even facing the street. It was pretty much invalid. They couldn't
Yeah.
get a
Wait,
proper view.
what?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because the sheriff went to the Chevron, I mean, the Shell,
I
went to the
told
Dollar General, and then went to the store next to them, and their cameras were just crap.
But in the store, if you pick up something and act like
the
you about to rob,
Chevron. I already showed you the Chevron. I'll go back. The Shell, the Good Nunya, is in Crescent. It's not near the Chevron and the pilot station. The Chevron is on the whole other end of where his car was found. They're not near each other. Here's the Shell way up here. The only two places that gave footage down here was the Chevron. And this, I did have it on the Chevron before we took
Did the
flight to
pilot?
before we took flight to the
My signal's probably
did the
awful, but
pilot
did
what?
the pilot have
Yes,
video?
So the pilot had video,
not the
but
same video that the Chevron did.
yeah. So the Chevron was facing towards the pilot, and the pilot was facing the street. But the awning of the pump, like where the pumps are at, the awning part was pretty much blocking majority of the camera. So it's kind of hard to tell, but you could tell that somebody was there. And then the videos of when he was there, uh, there was a few big, like a large RVs that were there, and it was kind of blocking the view.
So there's the chevron, and as you can see, here is the pilot over here. So that one set of footage, there must be a camera. Go back down here on this side, because that was the footage that was facing the pilot that actually showed Paul talking to the people in the van as well as the guy. So there has to be a camera over here somewhere.
Yeah, because like
For them to
Karina,
get that footage.
yeah, because like Karina said, there was a bar that was next door, and that didn't even have cameras on it. Like they had no cameras at all.
Oh, there's a camera right there on the end of the building. I can't get it won't focus in any bigger than that, but if you see my mouse going around a circle over here on the right-hand side of the building, that's a camera on the
I
corner.
see it.
That's probably where that footage came from. Crescent has several 24/7 live cam center. I like having the West Coast people in here because, see, I'm East Coast. I know all things about the Carolinas and stuff like that, but I'm not as familiar. I do have family out in San Fran, Sacramento, Napa Valley area, Oroville, all through different areas in California. So normally if I have a case out there or something I need to know, I usually just call on them because I'm not as familiar. So it's very helpful to have you guys come in and let me know these things. I'll have to check on some live footage cam center. Thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate it. Good looking out. And a lot of times, Ghost Eagle, they'll have dummy cameras too. Well, what good is that? Wait a minute. Good done, you said. Dutch, can I join the panel? My whiteboard is full and I still have questions. Absolutely. Let me get over here. I'm probably making y'all dizzy driving y'all around in the Dutch bus on this tour. At least we didn't go to Mongolia this time. We actually did go somewhere we were supposed to go. Let me drop the link in chat. Hang on. Vince, this has been very helpful. This has been very helpful to have you to come up and talk to us about this because, I feel like I'm getting a clearer picture of, the information. And it's good to hear you reiterate the things that are factual, clearing up things and clarifying. I really appreciate you doing that. And I know your brother would be very appreciative. And to all of the family and friends that I hope that you guys are getting the support that you need. We're going to keep sharing out Paul's information. If you guys see his flyer or you live out on the West Coast, if you can share this from California, Oregon, and Washington, I would be so grateful. Please do it for Paul. Please do it for Vincent and Cherry's, his mom, and all of his family, please. Because they would need to know what's going on. They need to know that he's okay so he can come back home to his family. Hey, Nunya.
So
Hey,
okay.
hey, Duchess, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for being here.
Good. Hey, Vince, I'm sorry your family is going through this. I kind of wanted to lay it out just a little bit. So you had mentioned that he left on Friday. Where did he leave from?
So on Friday, I helped him get the car. So he left the car at my house and went back to Liz's house because he had her car after when he met up with me to get a car off the lot. He was supposed to leave that night, but apparently he didn't. He went to our other brother's house and most likely stayed the night there. From what happened on Saturday morning, I'm not entirely sure. But from just like looking at the GPS coordinates of where the car was at the times, it didn't look like he didn't leave my city up until like I want to say like afternoon time.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, my phone cut out.
Okay, so
Just the what time he left. I heard he didn't leave till Saturday, but around what time was that?
that I'm not exactly sure. 'Cause from the GPS times, it kind of looks like he left almost after in the afternoon ish. Because it takes about from where I live to the location of where the car is about 6.5 hours. So since he got there at 12 at midnight, you just subtract the 6.5 hours from that, and that would pretty much give a rough estimate.
Okay. And then so the car tracks him going up to Crescent City. Is that the first and only stop that he made?
Um, it showed that he got to. No, actually, it doesn't show that he gets to Crescent. Pretty much, it shows that he gets to Chemult around midnight. From once he gets to Chemult at midnight, they do see video of him being parked in the back where the semi trucks are at for about 2 hours, and then
Okay. And that
from
was the first time the car had stopped?
yeah.
Okay, so from midnight to about 2 a.m. And
So
then 2 a.m. is where the car shows it was stopped out in the where you guys found the car, right?
so the GPS tracker. So when the car sits at idle at 12 o'clock, it shows that he gets back on the road around like 2:30 in the morning. From there, there's only two pings of him being on the road. And the last ping that it showed, he was doing 70 miles per hour at like 2:37, I believe it was. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have the paper in front of me. From that area where it pinged his location, it was probably like a good 5 minutes from where the car was located. And then once the car was pretty much stopped, it just pinged every day in the same location
In
with
that same,
0 miles per
okay.
hour.
Okay. And then how about the other ping? Was that just one of him like traveling just with the like the miles per hour? Or what time was that ping at?
Um, on which one?
You said at 2 a.m. After 2 a.m. he stays parked there till for 2 hours. He it shows the car was idling. And then there's two pings. The second ping is the one that was 70 miles per hour at around about 2:37, which was near the location where you guys located the car. I was wondering what the first ping was.
The
Do you
first one was
remember?
the first one was the same, almost in the same location, at going the same speed. So like it pinged twice
Okay.
at like a 5 minute difference.
I've
Okay.
actually got a copy of that you sent me.
Yeah,
Do
Of the
you want me
pings?
to do you want me to share that?
yeah, you could.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that
That way, it
up.
gives more of the timeline. Because from where Chemult is to where his car was, it's probably like a good 12 to 15 minute drive.
Okay. While she pulls that up, I have heard you guys mention. So, do you know when the detectives or when you guys got the information about him buying the Crocs?
Hmm.
That is at what point? Like, do you know around about what time in the day that was done at?
That would be. I'm not exactly sure, but it would be between. I want to say 10 a.m. to about 1 o'clock,
Okay.
and that was
And oh,
and that
sorry.
was the last place that he was at before he got in the car with the guy.
So he goes in to get the Crocs. When he's done getting the Crocs, he comes out. That's when he talks to the van person.
No.
And they,
So
oh,
so when he gets a ride back from Crescent. So I'll tell you the timeline that I've got. So when he gets pretty much when the car stops and stays into the forest, not exactly sure at what time that he leaves the vehicle. But that's when he changes his clothes, he leaves his wallet, locks the car, and he either goes down off the mount into the street, onto the freeway, walks north to where there's a split to go to Eugene, and he ends up hitching a ride from a female at that point. The female gives him a ride to Crescent, which she was going north.
So,
Which
I'm sorry, can I pause you? I
yeah,
have some questions along the way. I get confused easily, so I do apologize for interrupting you.
no.
The female, was that provided to you by, how do you know that that female, you got a ride from them?
I believe somebody
If you can share.
came forward about it and
Okay.
let the detective know that she gave him a ride, and that was like
Okay.
early in the morning. And she just let him know that she dropped him off in Crescent. And the time that he was seen in Crescent was probably, I want to say, at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So my guess is that he left the car probably when the sun came up. Because it was summertime, so the time it probably came up was probably like 6:30. I want to say.
Okay.
So when he gets to Crescent from that girl giving him a ride, because someone said that she works at a restaurant that's in Crescent. Um, didn't have no confirmation of that. Um, but the video shows him going into the Shell gas station early in the morning, uses the restroom for about like 10, 15 minutes or so, goes to the store across the street, which is Dollar General, grabs a charger, and sits outside the store with the charger and his phone. So he's charging up his phone at that point.
Hang on, I'm
That
taking notes. Hang on.
uh,
Sorry. Um, Dollar General buys a charger, sits outside for how long?
that I'm not exactly sure. I didn't really get
Okay.
nobody gave it a timestamp. Um, but sits there for a while. And then I guess someone said that he gets a ride from a male in a small pickup truck, probably like a Toyota Tacoma or something small of that nature. Gets a ride back to Chemult at that point. So he gets to Chemult probably around 10:30ish, somewhere around there. Just like a rough estimate. From there, because when he leaves the car, he pretty much gets a ride. He has no shoes. So on the video, they show him without shoes at the Dollar General. That's one part that I forgot. So he has no shoes at that point, early in the morning. Gets a ride to Chemult with the mail and a pickup truck. Gets there around between 10 and 11. Buys the Crocs and then goes and sits inside where the subway is. From that point, I believe they said that he's texting back and forth, multiple people. And then from when the video shows, the van pulls up at 1:40, like 1:40 something. The Camry doesn't show up until around close to 2 o'clock. Then at the point that those people are talking, he goes outside the gas station and goes around the pumps and goes interact with the people. From there, he gets into the white Camry at around 2:12. And then from his phone history, he was last on the phone with somebody. I want to say like 7, 8 minutes into that drive. After that, no one's heard from him. And then to calculate from when he was on the phone with that person would be close to where the car was at, but still on the freeway.
So when he's texting the person in that 7 to 8 minutes, that's around about the distance it would have been to his car?
Yes, so he
Is that
was
what
on
you're
the
saying?
he was on the phone with somebody at that time.
Oh, like literally talking to somebody on the phone.
Yes, as he's in the car with the person in the
So what
white
is he
camera.
saying to that person on the phone?
That part I have no idea. So
Okay.
because on the phone records it just shows that he was on the phone, and that it showed it was like for 8 minutes.
And have you guys contacted whoever he was on the phone with or no? You don't know
Um,
who that is.
yeah, me
Okay.
personally, I do not. I don't know if the detective have was able to check it. Because I know my mom sent um her call logs and everything for his phone. Because his phone is connected to my mom's account.
Oh,
So
that's
she was
good. So she can get the call logs. You don't have to wait for law enforcement.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she was
All
able
right. That's good.
to get the call logs. That's how we know that he was texting and calling, and it showed it was like go back and forth.
Okay. Okay.
But
And then
because the detective said that majority of the times he was on the Wi-Fi, so he was the subway's Wi-Fi.
okay, so he connected to the Wi-Fi there, but his phone was perfectly fine without the Wi-Fi. I mean, it's in the forest kind of, so that may affect it, but normally he could use this phone regularly. He didn't have to need Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. So when the phone, because in that area where the phone pretty much hangs up, there is a lot of dead spots in that area because even our phones weren't working in around there. In certain parts of the area as well. It was, and then where the car was located, there was like no signal. It was kind of like very like
Yeah, I can
spotty.
imagine. Okay. Okay. And then so when the van pulls up, you said it's 140 something. When the van pulls up, he's inside the subway at that point in time, right?
Yes.
And then do they get out of the car and then he comes out and goes around the gas pumps?
So I believe I believe the people in the van did go inside to buy some stuff. It's kind of hard to tell who is who because of there was a lot of people that was going in and out of it. The person in the Camry, I believe I didn't see him go into the gas station at all. It was more of he drove past, came back, and then parked, and then kind of like went towards the people that were at the van.
So seen out
So
of his car, but not really seen walking into the gas station like the people in the van.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the person in the
Okay.
Camry knew the people in the van.
that is kind of gray area. We don't know if they knew each other or he was just asking for 'em, or asking questions.
But it looked like they were all talking at some point
Yeah.
to each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Crystal, did
I've
you
got
have
a
a question?
question.
Okay.
Yes, I'm confused just a little bit, and I do apologize because I know I come in late. So if, like I said, if it's done been asked, I'm sorry. But when he's getting all these rides, what happened to his car that he was having to do that?
What do you
This
mean?
is where his car was in the woods, Crystal.
Yeah, so his car was so he doesn't remember.
Yeah,
So in
but
the
he's
morning
got
time he
rides
doesn't.
with.
Yeah, so in the morning time, not exactly sure what was going on. But I know he was telling a lot of family members and friends that he doesn't know where the car was at. He doesn't remember what he did with the car. Um, he didn't. It seems like he didn't start remembering up until like the afternoon time. I guess he messaged somebody like, "Oh yeah, the car is probably here. Maybe I'm not sure, but he's oh yeah, my car is there." But it was way away from where the car was located. So he was kind of like he
Was
wasn't sure. He just
um
knew
the
the car was
pin
in the forest.
the pin that was left in the car, um was that tested?
No. So pretty much the sheriff and detective didn't really take anything from the car besides his toothbrush for DNA.
That is very, very sad because I mean, you hear of people putting fentanyl and everything in pens all the time. I mean, it happens in schools. And it sounds like he had a moment of being disoriented. And like I
Yeah.
said, I'm late to this case and I do apologize and I hate that you're going through this. I'm just trying to understand it in my head why they wouldn't test that pen to make sure nothing was put in it.
I think it's because I mean, he can be seen on camera seeming to be acting, in a normal manner, and he doesn't
Right.
appear to be like forced to get in the vehicle. So it kind of looks like he's, voluntarily missing at that point, not involuntarily. So I
Y-
don't think that some of the normal actions they may not take during that time. That's my first thought.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct. That's how pretty much they're taking it. Even when we first brought the car out and we showed them the location of where the car, and they said that it's not something normal. It seems like he just threw the car in there and was just like, I'm gonna disappear, so I'm gonna just put the car in here and leave.
And
Okay,
you can
where
see
was
here,
his
this is
wallet
some of
and
the
stuff
pictures
found?
right here. Here's the van right here. This is taken from the Chevron station footage. That's the van sitting at the pilot station. And apparently that there was a man and woman there, and the driver of the Camry, um, was also seen talking to them. And
One,
here's the Camry from across the way taken from the Chevron station.
I did hear you say earlier that you were able, or the detective was able to speak to the owner of the van, but nobody has spoke to the owner of the Camry, correct?
Correct. They couldn't get the plate number, and it wasn't as visible. You can't really see it, and it kind of looked like the Camry had no plates.
And the van
I
that was contacted in Grants Pass, they say they were not there that day. So we're wondering if there is another van, and that may not be the correct one because the person they contacted said that they weren't there. It wasn't them.
Okay. Another question with your contact that do you have a timeline or like times that the family was in contact with him between the 2 a.m. and the 10 a.m. times? Because you said he had reached out to a few maybe family members or friends in between that time and kind of seemed disoriented. Do you know around about what times those were?
That I do not. Because I know early in the morning, my nephew was telling me he was calling him, telling him he don't know where he's at. Which my nephew called me at 8 o'clock. So around that early 6 o'clock morning, was probably blowing him up and telling him he don't know where the car is at, or he don't know where he's at. From a few of my family members that talked to him, and my mom was mentioned that he told our niece that he was at her house and that he was pulling up in her driveway when he was nowhere near that area. My dad did mention to me that my brother did call him in the morning and told him that, 'cause my dad asked him if he made it yet. He did tell my dad that he did make it. He did made it, and he's there, but he was nowhere near Washington.
Is it
St.
And
possible
Clement.
to? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead. I was
I'm
just going to
sorry.
ask. I was going to
The
ask
pilots.
Vince. Can you tell me if your brother's registered in NamUs because there's an official police report about his missing case, or no?
That I'm not sure.
Okay. That would be really important to get him into NamUs because that would be the national database to have Paul's information in. But you have to have a actual police report to file it, the disappearance of Paul. That's what's required. So I was just curious if you guys had that.
Yeah, I would have to ask my mom about that because I'm not
Okay.
entirely too sure.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Crystal. What were you saying? I think we got like a Wi-Fi, what do you call it? A lag. Are you there?
Well, well, I've got the boony Wi-Fi, so
You do.
I'm just. Was he barefooted when he got? Okay, I'm. Let me get this straight. His vehicle was found in one place. He ends up getting shoes. So I'm assuming that he left the vehicle with no shoes on.
So he left the vehicle with shoes.
He lost them.
Okay, okay, now that makes more sense.
Yeah, so pretty much he loses his shoes uh between him leaving the car and getting to Crescent.
Okay, and that pilot, is that at Plymouth?
In Chemult.
Okay. Okay. I mean, this is an off the wall question, but did they question any of the truck drivers that was at that pilot? Because a lot of the truck, my husband's a truck driver, and he's got a camera that's always pointing outwards, and then one that points at him when he's driving. So a
Yeah,
lot of these newer trucks have cameras in them themselves. Did they question any of them?
I don't believe they questioned anybody. Honestly, I think they just looked at the cameras and pretty much was it.
One
I'm
time
dropping the
back
nameless link
during
in chat.
COVID, I'm just going to tell you my experience here. One time when COVID first hit, um, I was with my husband and we were out in that area and we were leaving a pilot and a woman came running saying, "Help me, they're going to kill me." So we took her into the truck. We because somebody was after her, but she had been assaulted and had saw her dad assaulted. So I was telling her, "You need to report this to the police." And she said, "If I do, I'm dead because they're part of it." So that worries me.
Yeah. So for him, the way
I do have
he
another
is,
question.
yeah.
When the location that you said somebody was provided, was that like what? So did he share his location with them? Like
I
you were talking about earlier that the area where he had given that his car was allegedly located was nowhere near where the car was actually found and located.
it was pretty much
So
more. It was pretty much more north of where the car was. So the front end of the car, it was facing that location where he pinged. But it was pretty much at the bottom of a hill.
so his car was at the bottom of the hill, but the location was up at the top of the hill.
Yes. So the way that that area is, when you enter the service road, it kind of goes to it slightly goes up a little bit where the staging area is. But if you take the trail that heads towards the location where he he pinged, it goes into an incline. Like you literally have to have a four-wheel drive vehicle to go up the hill. And then once you get to the top, it pretty much flatlines.
Okay.
And then so if it was a higher elevation of where the trail
Right.
that he took the car into.
And I think we saw that on Google Map. You could see that that elevation changes. It kind of rises up in that one area.
Yeah, because the trail that he turned off into, it kind of goes down, but then it starts climbing up. And then once you kind of get up there, it starts like it's level.
And just be understanding, you guys said you did call the police on Sunday when you guys got concerned, or did you wait until Monday to call the police? I know they said you couldn't file the missing persons report, but I was wondering when the first contact was made.
Believe one of his friends, one of the girls he was talking to, was the one that called.
Okay, okay. And is that I maybe Erica was in the chat earlier. We heard about her from your mom, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. I believe.
Okay.
I think it was her that was concerned about it and stuff.
Okay. She was saying that she was having a conversation with him and he was kind of saying that, like, I don't know where my car is, and it was kind of confused. Have you guys been able to see those messages between them, or that's not something you've seen yet?
I've seen a few of them. Yes.
And in your history of knowing your brother, what what do you gather from those messages in the way that he was talking? Like, did it seem normal? Did he seem a little bit confused, but nothing too far out of the normal?
It did seem a little bit confusing. It does seem like because with the way that me and his relationship is, he pretty much, even though I'm his younger brother, I know there's times where he looks up to me, and he always asks me a lot of stuff before he does certain stuff, just so he has like confirmation. At that whole time, he never contacted me at all, because I know he was probably more embarrassed that he lost the car. He probably didn't want to hear me yell at him for it, because I usually tell him the truth about stuff, and sometimes he don't like it, but he has to deal with it anyways.
And how
Awesome,
far
Trisha. Thank
away
you.
was? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Dutch.
No, it's okay. I was just thanking Aussie Trisha for her kindness. I appreciate you supporting us. Thank you, Aussie.
Um, you were talking about the pings, and during the time of the pings, he was parked in Crescent City, I believe. Sorry, I had to leave my house, so I don't have my notes. But he was parked in Crescent City for that 2 hours, just resting,
It
right?
was a Chemult.
Oh, he was in Chemult. So he went from, isn't Crescent City south?
North.
So he went all the way up to Crescent City and then back down south to Chemult and then
Yeah, so you got a
disappeared.
he got a ride from somebody that was heading north.
So he's in. Okay, wait. He's. Where did he sleep for the 2 hours that the car was just idling? Where was that at?
In Chemult, behind the pilot.
So he was in Chemult and then, oh, but then that's what you're saying is then he drove the car to the spot where the car was found. 2.5 hours later. How
No,
far?
so
How far from where he
two
was
and that.
parked to where the car got dropped?
So where the like? What do you mean? So when he sits at the gas station in Chemult for about 2 hours, and then gets back on the road. So he rests for about 2 hours at that pilot gas station, and then once he gets back on the road, probably about 15 to 20 minutes, the car ends up being inside the forest. So he
And
gets
did
half.
they
He,
check the cameras only from Sunday when they found the whole van and Camry situation? Do you know if they checked earlier on when he would have first been there resting to see if those people had approached him at that time?
I believe the detective seen the time that he got there at midnight, and he just said it just sits there in the back, and it's kind of hard to see him in the back, but he can tell that the car was there, and then it sits for 2 hours, and it shows him leaving, but it doesn't show that he was interacting with anybody or if a van was there.
Right. Allegedly speculating pointed this out also, which is true. Erica did say that as soon as his phone went dead, from what we were told, it may not have been accurate, though, that he was texting her. Is that true?
That I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. That's interesting. Because that's what she was saying in chat, that, he had sent her the location and things like that. And then, so I appreciate you just letting us know.
Yeah, because
Thank you for pointing that out.
I'm pretty sure he was in and out with the signal for his phone. Because even when we were out there, we were losing signal left and right, even going through the trails. And even on the highway, you were losing signal.
Allegedly says, or a friend in Washington may not have been Erica to report him missing. Because you guys reported him, right, Vince?
Once we got out there, we were able to put a actual missing report.
Reception is bad out there, Karina.
Yeah, because she was with us when we found his car.
This is such a strange situation. It's just odd that this guy gets out of the Camry, walks up and talks to the people in the van. The people in the van go in the store, Camry guy doesn't go in the store, but then your brother starts talking to the Camry guy and then goes and gets in the car with him. And really, that's all we know.
Do Camry guy and the van people talk to each other before he comes out?
Yeah, so on one of the videos that I seen, that Camry guy walks to the van and starts talking to them. And then that's when Paul comes out and walks towards them. And then that's when a couple minutes after that he starts getting in the car with the guy.
I don't know. I feel like van people and the Camry guy there's some type of connection between the two. They obviously know of each other at the very minimum.
Now, do we know anybody in the area, Vince? Has anybody come forward, or are we aware of any Camrys in the area that's come to your attention that you want to speak on?
I'm pretty sure it's pretty much quiet. None of them, no one's really came forward about anything. Not even the person that gave him a ride from Crescent back to Chemult.
Very interesting. And do you think that the van at Grants Pass, I know your mom was given some information by someone that had messaged her. Do you think that these are the people that were at the gas station that day? Or do you have reason to believe that this information may not be accurate and there is possibly another van out there?
Make sure you put the garbage in the garbage.
I'm pretty sure that it was them. Like I said, that van is
Hmm.
very distinctive.
Okay.
Down from the color to what was on the vehicle itself. Because not everyone is the same, and it's not all the same color.
And have you spoke to these people, or has just law enforcement been in contact with these people?
I'm pretty much just a detective.
And they say they weren't there that day.
Yes, they say that they frequent the area, like they go back and forth. But they say that that day they were not there.
And do you know if the detective inquired if they know anyone with a white Camry? Did he let you know if he did discuss that with them?
I don't think I asked them that, from what I
That,
remember.
that's a good question. I think you should ask, because I think it's a very important question that if they didn't ask it the first time, they need to run on back out there and verify that, because, it's the things that are left unsaid. I mean, if you don't ask, they ain't gonna tell. I mean, so you think that, so
Have
Sunday
you
Doodle says,
guys been
do you
able? Was there any type of search party that happened through the woods in the area where the vehicle was found, or over by where the pilot is, or anything like that?
So that's the thing. I don't think anybody's have tried to go out there and try to search for them. The day that we were on the way to go get the car, because we had the coordinates from it, people from the Oregon page were saying that they were going to have the camera people there, the news over there, that they're going to have a whole search team in that area. And that's kind of why we're like, okay, we need to go get this car first before anybody touches it. And, if there's something there, we want to make sure that, nothing's been touched. Um, so by the time we got there, we'd never seen anybody go out there. We never seen any news people go out there while we were there. So it's like, when people are like, "Oh yeah, we'll go help," we'll go. Honestly, I don't believe it, because when we were there especially the couple days is pretty much a crucial time to look. And
Now,
nobody was
the
pretty much
family
there.
has been out there to look, yourself, didn't you guys go out there or try to organize some people to go out there and take a look in the area? Where did that occur at?
A second.
Didn't some people in the family or some friends try to go and look around in some of the areas to do
Yeah,
kind of a
it was
search?
it was pretty much me, my friend, my girlfriend, my brother, his wife. When we first got the car, it was pretty much us.
Okay.
The second time, my mom went out and was trying to find it. Well, try to find him or try to find answers. And then me, my friend, my girlfriend went out again, and then we went again with another friend. we're pretty much the only ones that actually went.
Karina says that never happened though, Vince. That's what gets me upset. Karina, what are you referring to?
Pretty much that nobody tried to help.
Yeah. It seems like law enforcement would have at least brought the dogs out to try
Yeah,
to
that's
see
what.
if they could track a scent or something like that. But
Yeah, pretty much that's what we thought as well, but they really didn't do anything. Because even with us with the car, we're like, well, his clothes are in there, and you could, have a search dog and try to, sniff them out. It's still fresh, but
right.
they didn't do anything.
And Vince, you did tell me that his car was full of gas.
Yeah, car's full of gas, battery wasn't dead, tires were aired up. There was no damage to the car at all.
He just
Besides,
ran over that stump, which is probably what stopped him.
yeah, he
Okay.
probably got scared and ran it over and kind of like, oh, because it. You gotta think about it this way: you're driving in the middle of a forest at night with no lights besides the car. So you kind of put yourself in that mindset and driving in a dark area like that, and it's like, yeah, it gets scared. It gets scary.
Yeah, I agree, SG. It appears they lied and they aren't going to be honest now. And that's kind of what scares me because
I
where
have
is
a
Paul?
sorry. I know earlier you had mentioned that when he left with $200 in cash. But when you guys, I believe, found his wallet, somebody had mentioned last time he had only had like $60 in the wallet left. Is that
Um,
correct or no?
so in his wallet, there was no money in the wallet, but he had about roughly like $28 in the car.
And how
Okay.
much do you think? I know you guys had just gotten the car. You were saying that he had mentioned that it was using a lot more gas than he had thought. How much do you think in that area it would have cost him to like fill up the gas tank?
Um, so with that car, pretty much it was the same as my Sequoia. Because it takes around, I would, oh, it's kind of a bad estimate. Because I know I wasted probably about, I think over $140 just getting there.
Okay. And do you think from where he was located to Chemult when he makes his first stop, do you think that that is about like a full tank of gas? So he would have had to stop for gas at that point. Maybe that's why he ends up stopping there.
Um, so our normal like for Phillips getting from where we are to there, we would if we leave with a full tank at where I live now, we would get to about Weed, California before we had to refill up. Because after that it's pretty much dead empty road. Um, I probably killed about three-quarter tank of gas by the time I got to Weed, California. Getting from Weed, California to where he was at, he probably would have wasted maybe about a half a tank and would have to probably fill up from there.
But according to the pings, though, he hadn't stopped
Well,
from the time he took off. Oh,
so on the
And
on the ping on
I've
the
got
pings,
the pings. I've got
yeah,
the pings right here. Let me pull that up so we can
so,
take a look
yeah.
at
So
it.
the pings, it doesn't show like that he stopped. Because it only pings like once randomly, so it just show where the car is at randomly.
Yeah, so these are the markers like A, B, C, D, E, and then it's got the different locations, the event date, the speed, and like whatever the event trigger was on this. This is one of the things that you had sent me.
Yeah, because even if he was to stop at a gas station and like say if it doesn't ping, you're not gonna know that he stopped at a gas station. It just shows that he was driving.
I was just trying to think of like that's the reason why I'm asking is because from where you're at, like your mom had told us where he left from, but from where you're at to Weed, California, okay, that's one tank of gas, and
Yeah,
then from there to Chemult would be about another half a tank, which
just
tells me maybe he stopped somewhere else, and we
um,
just don't know where that is
I
potentially.
would in honestly he probably would either fill up in Klamath Falls or pretty much fill up right there in Chemult. But there was enough gas in there to like like as if he filled up in Chemult because the gas tank was like
Okay.
completely full.
Okay. All right. So maybe you didn't have to stop then. Okay.
Yeah, because
And
look
are
here
you
on this one right here, if you look at B, look, he's on the Dalles-California Highway, which is that main thoroughfare where he supposedly walked to and got the ride, into Crescent. So here he is. I mean, 2 times 721, he's doing 77, he's doing 80 miles an hour excessive speed. And then all of a sudden it jumps to 722 on this
Which-
unnamed road in Klamath County, Oregon, and it's got
Yeah,
an auto report on it.
yeah, and it pretty much doesn't show that where he stopped at.
Yeah, so in between, like, there's nothing
okay?
there.
Okay.
So, yeah,
I was
which I
just
think
trying to
is weird.
figure out if like the loss of money, did somebody like take his money? Did he stop somewhere and maybe, like somebody drove him to that location of the where the car was left? Like that's kind of what I was trying to think of
He
just
had
from
money in his
based off of the
pocket,
money.
Crystal.
But
Yeah, so he probably only had like maybe $20-$30 maybe on cash on him. Um, the Crocs were I think on sale, so they were like probably $10 just for the Croc itself, the Crocs themselves.
Yeah, and he had
and
cash on him, that Crystal.
Yeah,
That's how his wallet was in the car, but he had cash in his pocket. And that's how he doesn't have a bank card or anything like that. Like he just left his wallet in there, but he had cash
yeah, because most
apparently on.
likely, he didn't have the cash in his wallet. He just had all the cash in like one of the cup holders. Because they found the rest of his money in like the ashtray area. So most likely he had all his money there, and he just grabbed some of
Mhm.
it out and just took it with him when he took off walking.
Right.
you had mentioned earlier, was his EBT card in his wallet, or no? You guys haven't located it.
That I'm not sure if my mom has it or who actually has it. That part I'm not sure.
I was only going to ask because you can like do the history of the transactions potentially,
Hmm.
and if
Yeah,
anybody like if it wasn't located, that's something that like may give you like it may be used at a store or something like that, and you could go to that store and potentially get help, with their cameras maybe.
because I know that the girl that put him in that he was dating before, and then that she put him in jail. I know she had access to his EBT card because she would take it, and then it would go between her and then my mom, and she would always try to collect it from my mom, even when he was like locked up in jail.
Okay, all right.
Because I guess he would he would
And
he would tell my mom to go ahead and just let her take it to use it.
okay.
So where
And
the
no
card is, I'm
judgment
not
and
entirely
all.
sure.
I just want to ask some of a couple of little questions. I know we've kind of touched on it here and there. But as far as mental health issues go, he's never had any type of signs of like mental health breaks or manic episodes or anything like that that you guys are aware of.
That I'm pretty sure he doesn't. The only thing I know, he's like real energetic. He's like one of the type of person that's always on a go. Um, very very active. So you,
Can you
I
kind
we
of
And we don't know
describe?
what the
Oh, sorry. Go
antidepressant
ahead.
was for.
Sorry.
We just know he was taking an
Yeah.
antidepressant for his mother.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you kind of describe? You had talked earlier about like some sorry, Panera, paranoia with when it came to like police. Is it possible? Well, not is it possible? Is that? Do you feel like that was mostly because of the incidents that he had had or the interactions he had had with police, or was it a little bit different?
I'm pretty sure it was. Just like if somebody goes into a military and you know someone's like shooting at you, you're gonna have PTSD from it. Because I do know like every time you hear sirens, he probably would freak out a little bit. Um, because back in the day, he would always, the cops would always beat him because they would pretty much profile him, you know, because of the tattoos he had and stuff like that.
Vibrator, his shoes were not in the car. He was wearing red Air Max, but he lost them once he went on foot traveling away from the vehicle. His shoes were lost. Um, so we don't know. And his shoes have never been found. They were not in the car.
Yeah, because along with his luggage, he has like a bunch of different pairs of shoes. That's how we figured out which ones he was wearing at the time.
How do you know that it was him who parked the car there in that location and then walked to get to hitch the ride?
Pretty much the way that the car was set up and how everything was in his car. It was as if he drove it in there, left it, and walked away. The clothes that he was wearing that night that he drove the car in there ended up in his suitcases.
Oh,
Huh?
okay.
Oh no, sorry, it was on the back seat because he
So the
changed his.
clothes he originally left out on his trip with, those clothes were on the back seat, and the clothes he has on in the videos, that's a different outfit.
Yeah, and he most likely changed into before he left the vehicle. Because it was pretty much his pants and underwear that were left in the vehicle. So I'm pretty sure that he changed into another set of underwear and shorts because it was summertime. So I'm pretty sure since he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna walk and it's summer, it's hot, it's warm,
Yeah.
change it to something a little bit cooler.
Hmm. And have you guys attempted to make any contact with some of maybe missing persons groups out of Oregon to assist you?
I believe my mom has and my sisters have.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, they have a couple people that are trying to help them, and they're also trying to organize getting another private investigator to help them.
Yeah, I think that would be really good. I also think having somebody kind of review those the I think the call records that you have from your mom, that your mom has access to, should show like text messages or phone calls, I think, or FaceTime calls even. I think that would be really good, because maybe you could go back to those people. Like if he was on the phone with somebody for 7 or 8 minutes while he's in the Camry, maybe that's a good person to find and go to and say, okay, we know he was on the phone with you. Can you tell us, what was he saying? Did you hear anybody's voice in the car? Like, would you recognize that voice? And gathering that information potentially could really kind of help you move
Exactly.
that along and get you some more information too.
Yeah, that part I'm not entirely sure. But I do know that when my mom was able to get some of the like him calling people, it just pretty much just showed a timestamp of what time it was and how long he was on the phone for, and then it just showed that it was an incoming text or outgoing text. It didn't really show what was being said.
Vince, would you say he is street smart or someone who trusted easily? No judgment, just trying to get an idea.
Street smart, yes, very street smart. He did know his way around the streets, and he did know way around like legal legal stuff. Like when he goes to jail, and he knows pretty much what to say, especially when it
Okay.
comes to like legal stuff in courts.
And were the keys left in the car? But the car was locked, right? So you
Yeah,
believe that maybe he did have the keys on him?
yeah. The keys, I'm pretty sure he has them with them. It was just one key, and one key fob.
Okay. And SG wants to know, was his driver's seat as far back as usual? Did his car have manual lever or push button starter?
So it was a regular key, and his driver's seat was leaned back, as if he was like laying, like he was relaxed. And that's how we figured that it was him in the car, and then he just pretty much left it and then walked away from it.
And there didn't look like there'd been a sign of a struggle. There wasn't any blood or anything that looked disarray that made you suspect that something had went down in the vehicle at any time.
Yeah, and it was pretty much nothing.
Okay.
That's kind of why we wanted to get to the car before anybody else has, just so that we know.
So you're obviously Paul's younger brother. What can you tell us about Paul? What are his interests? What are things that he likes to do? I know you said that when he was younger, he might have had some gang affiliations. He's been incarcerated. He's had some run-ins with the law. But who is Paul as a person to you, as his brother? How would you describe him?
So the way me and him grew up, we weren't like grew up with each other. It was more of my other brothers that they grew up with them more than I have. I was more with my mom, raised by my mom, and my brother was more raised with my dad. Um, but growing up, my brother was here and there for me. He did have my back. If any issues happened, he was quick to be there for me. If anything happened, he was pretty much there. Um, Seeing him as a normal person, and other people see differently, because people like to judge, but he was pretty much a big teddy bear. Um, he was quick to have fun. Like, he would literally, if it's wintertime and you have a pool, he would still jump in the pool. Yeah, he wouldn't care. Um, he did like to drink. He doesn't get abusive when he drinks. He's pretty much like a big old teddy bear that likes to be loud. Um, Other than that, it's pretty much the life of the party.
I do have a quick question, and then I'll leave you alone from there. um, so is it possible? I know you had mentioned that he missed a check-in. Is it possible that you guys can go through the parole officer and kind of use that way to get some help in looking for him?
That I'm not sure if my mom has tried. I know she did mention that the parole never went to her house, even though that he's missing and has not reported. She did mention something about they pretty much don't care.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, for real, last question. Are you locked 209?
Yes, that's my YouTube
Okay.
account.
Okay. I
Yeah.
I always look for your comments in the chats. The last time
Hmm.
I was looking for every comment you're making because your stuff is very like laid out very well. I think that's going to be very helpful. I think one thing I would suggest in an effort to help you guys is you had like that timeline that you had. That is a perfect one that helped like kind of make it all make sense with the times. I think that that's something that you guys should when you're getting help from um other than being careful with creators, but when you
Mm.
are
Yes.
getting help, I think that would make it very like everybody's mind works differently, and so it's very helpful because people think of different things that you may have not have thought of before.
Yeah, with all that paperwork, because there was a few other more pages that was there. I unfortunately I didn't take a picture of it with my phone. Because there was like two different pages. I forgot what they were. But I did give them to the sheriff and detective at the time that we found the car, so they have that exact paperwork, like hard copy.
Okay. And they never dusted the car, looked inside the car, but you guys had already taken the car out of the woods and drove it
Into
into
town.
the town, and that's when so did you call the police before you located the car and then they just met you in town, or did you
Um,
call them once you were in town with the car to say something's going on, something's not right?
Yeah, so when we picked up the car, we pretty much took it straight to the ranger station. We try to tell them, "Hey, our brother's missing. We have his car." They pretty much told us to just call the sheriff. They can't do anything about it. So we took the car to Crescent, parked it, and then waited for them to come, which took like 3 to 5. I don't know if it took like 3 to 4 hours. It was a couple hours that we sat there waiting for them.
Mm.
Um, they did search the car. Um, we gave them permission to go through it. They looked in the front, the back. They even looked in his luggages that he had in the back seat and in the trunk. They looked in the trunk as well. They did not dust anything for fingerprints. Um, After we let them do that, they went and tried to look at the cameras. They seen that he was there without shoes. Um, and we still waited until the detective released the vehicle to us and told us that we could go ahead and take it. But once they released it to us, they asked us if we could take them to the location of where the car was at. And then that they pretty much followed us into the area where the car was at, and that's where they kind of scanned around to see if there's any kind of evidence or foul play.
Okay.
But
And
Okay.
they
was
did.
there any other tire tracks around the car, or could you? I don't know if you guys would have looked at that finding the car. You probably
Um,
were emotional.
So from where the car entered into the location it was at, it only seemed that as it was his own tire marks. As for on the trail leading up to it, there was multiple tracks. Like and it's been 4 days, so we don't know if if how recent it
Right.
was or if it was before. But the tires going into the forest of where the car was located, you only see his car going in.
And at
So
what
when he,
point in time did you guys go to the other location where he said he was at, but he wasn't really at?
um, so the when we did get the car, we tried to go in that area, but we kind of backed away because of how steep the incline was.
Okay.
So we end up turning around and going back out. When we came back, I want to say the next week or two,
Mhm.
we end up going up there, and that was with my mom, my dad, my friend, and my girlfriend.
Okay. And have you guys gone out into, I mean, I know it's a hard thing, but have you actually gone out into the woods to search, or have you guys put your efforts mostly into like where the little towns are to put it out there and to get anybody who can help to that may have seen something?
We did kind of spread out a little bit. We didn't try to get too far out into the forest because we didn't want to get lost, and it's pretty much easy to get lost in there. But a few of the trails we did go down and drive into, and then just kind of like scan around.
Okay. 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 All right.
Michelle would
Well,
like to know if you have a theory of how he lost his shoes.
Um, but for that, it would probably be after he left the car. There's parts of the forest area where the car was located. It does get real soft and squishy. So it's a possibility that he was going down the hill and kind of lost them. Possible. That's pretty
Okay.
much where we think maybe.
Okay.
Eh,
And Vibrator wants to know, is 5'2" the correct height, which was the part of the information that I was given. Um, is that his correct height?
I
There was another
believe.
flyer that said he was 5 feet, and then I was given that he was 5'2". So
Yeah,
do you know how tall your brother is?
yeah, because I know I'm 5'5" and he's just a little bit shorter than I am.
Okay. That's
hmm.
the information that I was given. So that's why I was wondering.
If it was I don't know how to ask it, so I guess I'll if let's say he gets in the car with the guy in the Camry, right? And
Uh-huh.
he starts to get a vibe that, something's not right. Like, is he a fighter? Like, can he, like,
Yeah.
obviously within reason, because people can only fight for so long, but like, is that something you would have done, or would he have even picked up on that vibe?
Um, Pretty much, yes, he would. It would order for someone to take him down, it would be with multiple people or with a weapon,
Mm,
pretty much.
okay. Oh, that's a good question then. When the Camry pulls off, what does the van do?
The van sits there for a good couple hours.
Oh, okay. So the van doesn't even move. The Camry
Yeah,
by itself with him in the car leave.
yeah, because I believe the van leaves around like 4 o'clock, like four something.
Okay. Hmm. Okay.
And I see Cold Case Crystal also asked, do you know for a fact all the pings are his and not someone else using his phone? And then Karina says in chat, no, we don't know that.
Yeah, because a
And
lot of stuff we can't really speculate. Because I know my mom and them
yeah,
are kind of like, oh yeah, no, yes, it was them, but it's like you
yeah,
can't
you
really
don't
say.
really know. I agree,
Yeah.
Crystal. It doesn't really feel like law enforcement's going to do their job at this point, considering all the information that I've gotten from locals and just learning about this case.
I think it's also
I
the
have a lot of questions.
circumstances. Yeah, I think it's definitely the circumstances. Now, I have another question. Is it possible that he kind of didn't want to have to go back to report for parole anymore?
So the way he is, it's not a character of his to just disappear away from his family.
Okay.
He is a very strong family person. Even if he was to take off running, he would at least contact somebody or one of his family members and let them know, like, hey, look, I'm gonna go. Don't worry about me. Um, Especially with our mom, he would always let her know what he's doing and where he's gonna be at, and even with our dad, because he has a strong bond with our dad. Yeah, he's always like calling him and checking up on him, making sure he's good.
Okay.
Even if he's locked up in prison, he always his way to call.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And you, I'm sorry, Duchess. I'm sorry. I said 13 questions ago. Every time he says something, I have more. I apologize.
I don't
You
know.
guys have
I'd
already.
rather have people ask questions that way it's not confusing because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people are kind of confused and not they don't understand or something don't make sense.
Yeah. You guys have already checked the prisons and jail systems to make sure that like he didn't get picked up somewhere in Oregon and is waiting to get extradited back to
Yeah,
California, right?
yeah. We pretty much try to locate like all the jails that are around, and
Yeah.
there's pretty much nothing.
And your
Okay.
mom said that she still, she tries to check in, to make sure that nothing comes up.
Okay. Okay.
So, and Michelle says, do we know for sure that he walked to the gas station? Well, we know that he walked to the road where the girl picked him up and took him to Crescent and then in a pickup truck. And then he
Yeah,
got a ride also from the Shell down to the Pilot gas station. So he didn't actually, that would have been quite a long walk for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, because
But
where
So,
the
he,
car was, where the car was located, just going north of it to Crescent was like a good 10 minutes driving.
oh, that's not far at all.
Yeah, it's like a good 10 to 12 minute drive,
Okay.
and it's the same way going the opposite way from where the car is. So he's pretty much right in the middle. So going
Yeah.
from Chemult to Crescent is like a good 20 minutes.
Okay. Hmm.
yeah, so he
Okay.
did walk to the main road, but he got a couple of rides to
Yeah,
be able to get to those places. So
and
Terry
out of
wants to know if he's comfortable out in nature like that. Did he enjoy camping and hiking and stuff like that?
I believe so with my dad. Yes, they did a lot of hiking and a lot of camping with each other.
Hmm. Um, I agree, LFT.
Vibrator, I don't know that Ellie has put out any bulletins, but if I do find out that law enforcement has released anything, I will let you know.
I think that wasn't there. He's well, maybe not a bulletin, but um. Oh wait, if there's no bulletin by the police, doesn't that mean they don't consider him a missing person? Is that how it works, Dutch? I'm not sure about that.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, we have people that are missing from police departments on a lot of places, and they might just put out a flyer in, and that's all you'll ever hear about them. And some people don't even get a flyer. A lot of police departments
Oh,
don't even share it. I know it sounds crazy, but I've seen it happen,
okay.
and I can't explain it. Um, I did not actually see him on the Klamath County Facebook page or anything like that. Like I came across that because his mom reached out to me.
Mm, okay.
So, if
Well,
you guys know that there is a post on from the sheriff department, please send it to me because I haven't seen it.
okay. All right. Um, okay. Erica is back in the chat. I know she was having some challenges getting on panel earlier. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is Erica the last person to have spoke with him or texted with him?
for that I'm not entirely sure. Um, for like the text messages going back and forth between everybody, I don't have the knowledge of what was said and the timeline for that. I did get a few screenshots of a few messages, but it's kind of hard to put them all together because it kind of jumps around, and
Okay.
some of it doesn't even show the timestamps.
Okay. It may be helpful, only to kind of for the for where his mind was at the time, to kind of understand what was, there may be something in there where, maybe he was just like, man, let's just say, man, I'm sitting at the subway, this guy and, this such and such guy in some blue jeans and, his Air Force Ones is just keep staring at me, right? It could be something so simple, potentially, but
Yeah,
that nobody thought of at the time. That if you can, I would absolutely collect those messages and maybe timeline those out as well to see, okay, he was here. Like, I think it will potentially maybe help fill in some of the gaps of your timeline that you have right now. Just as a suggestion. I'm gonna hop down now so I could stop talking, but I
okay. No.
truly, I'll be praying for your family. I know the holidays cannot be easy for you guys. I hope that you guys get all the answers that you deserve to have. And I pray that he is found safely and unharmed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dutch.
I have a question. If you don't mind me asking, has
Yeah.
he ever had episodes where like this before, like losing a vehicle and his shoes?
Um, not that I know of. Um, there's people that because I've gave him multiple cars before. One of them, the last car that I gave him, somebody actually stole it from him. He was pulled into my mom's apartment. He went to go inside and pretty much relax, I believe. Walked back outside and pretty much the car's gone at that point. Um, yeah, and it wasn't an easy car to steal. It's like if somebody knew how to steal it because there was a specific way to turn the car on. Prior to that one, somebody rear-ended him on one of the cars that I gave him, and pretty much it was I don't know if it was an accident or just a hit and run, but the car ended up being totaled out.
Wow.
But as for
But
losing cars, it's not a known thing or a thing that he would do. Him abusing cars,
so
yes, but like
being this disoriented is I mean, because you'd have to be pretty disoriented to lose a vehicle.
yeah. That I've never seen.
I wanted to thank the good nun. Yeah, I had to take a quick call about my mom. I was muted out for just a second when she was getting off panel. And I appreciate all of your questions, Nunya. And Crystal, I was going to ask your question, but then you popped up, so I just let you ask it for yourself while I was checking on Mama. I think we've had a lot of great questions. And thank you, Vince, for answering them and for, being transparent and just helping us um, walk through this because it is a lot. And it's good to know, like when you recount things, when we have questions to walk it back, Crystal's coming in fresh to this and, was asking a lot of questions that had already been answered. But, hearing it back again helps us to reaffirm, what you've said so we can remember exactly how these things have taken place because it's really important. And I appreciate every single one of you that have been here for this 3 hours for us to, be able to discuss these details because I think it's very important. And Mike, I don't know if he's on the run. I mean, if he is and they get him, then I mean, that's what it is. But it just seems unusual that this would be the case when he has intentions to go do one thing that he wouldn't let his family know that he was okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much out of character for him to just disappear like that.
I mean, do you think he would still try to touch base with you even if he was on the run to let you know he was okay, to let his mom know he was okay?
Yes, very.
Okay.
That's why we said it's not a character of his to just disappear and try to get away, even if he was on the run or anything.
Okay. And his glasses were not found in the
Was
vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
okay, and the girl that gave him a ride. Um, I know it seems like the area is pretty racist.
Mhm.
So
Are you there?
yeah, did I
Crystal?
cut out?
Yeah.
Yeah, did I?
Okay.
I'm sorry. Boony Wi-Fi again. I apologize. Um, do we know that he doesn't know the girl that gave him a ride? Because in a racist area, that's kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a little. I don't think he knows the person, but he is the type of person where he could talk to anybody and pretty much get along with
Oh,
everybody. He does have like a mouthpiece to be able to talk to people. He's not afraid to not talk to people.
Kim wants to know if you checked with the hospitals going in the direction that he was going to make sure he wasn't there.
I believe my mom has. She's tried to contact them, and like I said, they keep telling her that they can't disclose that information due to
do
privacy.
they still have his car, or did they release him to you all?
They released it to us, and we took it back to California.
Right. That's what that picture is that I've been
Have
showing on screen right here. They drove it off from this location.
Yeah,
could
that's where the car was
it
found.
is it possible to have forensics done on that car to make sure somebody else wasn't in the vehicle when he parked it there with him?
Um, I'm pretty sure it's already too late now. That car's already had a bunch of hands already on it now.
Mm.
Erica says, what I think is weird is that his phone was still accepting phone messages like regular phones. You got to keep erasing the voice messages, and I'm sure his family and friends left hundreds. Cherry said, I checked and he's not wanted. Thank you, Cherries.
Yeah,
Y'all
because
please
that's the
put some hearts in
the
the chat.
only unusual part about his phone. Um, at the last look, where when he was on the phone with somebody, it was like for a good 8 minutes or so, and then the phone cuts off. The ping I don't know how they got the ping of the phone location, which is kind of close to where the car was at, but it showed that it pinged the next morning in the same location. But I guess he had a phone call. Somebody tried to call him at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, at close to 4. After that, that was pretty much phone was dead.
Yeah, and the Good Onion, they believe that he had his phone on him. Yeah, the physical device. If they haven't found him, they may not have found his phone because it's probably with him. But they can't ping it because because it doesn't have, I guess
Yeah,
it's
because
not on.
it's pretty much off.
Yeah, so yep, that was one of the questions that I had that
Uh,
we discussed in our first live.
So the guy
is
still
it
has
an iPhone?
no. That's I believe it's an Android phone.
Oh,
Cherry said, I still haven't vacuumed it. And Explore Corps said, I had questions above regarding any life events that happened beforehand, good or bad, that may explain his state of mind. And Explore Corps, I don't know if you've watched the first live or caught the beginning of this one, but a couple things Vince did talk about was, of course, he had a head trauma a year before from a supposed co-worker where he was attacked with a metal object in his head, and it caused him to have brain, some trauma to his head. And but he did not go on any medications or even follow up with the doctor after that happened. And he also was in a relationship with someone in which he had charges in March of 2024. Is that correct, Vince? And so he was
Yeah.
trying to get away from this person.
Yes.
Okay. And that was one of the reasons he was wanting to leave California and go to Washington. That
Yeah,
was
because
one of
he didn't want to continue to get in trouble.
right. Was there anything else that you can um any life events that before this happened that you think may have contributed to anything or that you can think of?
Not that I could think of.
Okay.
I just have one more question and I'll jump down. And I'm sure Duchess knows about what this is. What is your favorite memory with your brother?
Oh, so that one would have to be when we were kids. We were playing the Nintendo. Pretty
Hmm.
much, it was I forgot what the game was called, but it was like it was a monster truck game, and he would tell me not to get the money as we're racing around the little track, not knowing that if you collect the money, you could upgrade the car to make it faster. So his car would be faster than mine, and he would just pretty much take all the money. And it's pretty much one of the strongest memories that I got.
Well, thank you for sharing that,
That's
Ben.
I'm praying for your family and I hope that he is found. Um I just personally I feel like something happened at that vehicle because it seems like things get foggy from there. Um that's
Yeah,
just
'cause
my thought on it. I mean,
no,
because
yeah,
it don't sound like he's been that disoriented before. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it seems like he once right after like afternoon time he starts coming around and starts remembering. Just doesn't remember exactly where everything's at. He just knows that the car is in a certain location. And then I agree about when he gets in the car, it's pretty much it goes cold after that. And we don't know exactly how far they got. We don't know if there was a struggle, or we don't even know if he got to the location where the car would possibly be, and say if the guy that gave him a ride left him. And he tried to go in the forest, try to find the car by himself. So we don't know if he went back into the forest or if something happened to him.
Now, when he
Or
had
if,
this head trauma a year ago, Vince, um, did he have disorientation? Did it take him a while to get back to normal after that happened? I mean, did he have like was he hit in the front of the head? I mean, did he have lacerations? I mean, how severe was this altercation that he had with this other person? Because if he had some type of trauma, head trauma from that, I just question like, is this a similar thing that happened when he got his head trauma, with him having this disorientation? I just wondered if that was something that had happened since he had the head trauma, or was this the first time he's ever called to say, "Hey, I'm disoriented. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's happened. I think the cops are chasing me," or
so for to me, it does seem unusual. Even after the head trauma, that to me when he was around me, at least, it seemed normal. Like nothing's ever changed. I've never really seen him have episodes like that, so it is kind of still unusual for me. Because when he
okay,
does come around me or we talk and stuff like that, is normal person. He does have expressed like stuff that he had going on, like how he wants to start his life over again. How he's like, I keep fucking up. I need to try to get right.
right.
Um, and he's like, I'm a grandparent now. He's like, I need to do something.
It sounds like he had his head on straight. I mean, mm,
Yeah. So like my mom said, that he was pretty much he was bleeding excessively. And had to get stitches in his head, I believe.
yeah,
But
so
even
he's
after
not.
that,
And
he was
how long before this did that happen?
I believe over a year. I
Yeah, I
don't have
think
the exact
I think
exact
Sherry said he
time.
was right about a year or so ago. Crystal. We talked about that on the other live stream. I don't know if you were there for that one, but we've talked about some of this information on the previous live stream. And that's where his mom came up and spoke to us. She gave us a lot of information too. And she's in the chat now. Cherries for you is his mother. Have a good night, Michelle. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Any other questions you can think of, Crystal?
No, but thank you for allowing me to be up here. And again, I'm praying for this family. I pray that he's found.
Absolutely.
Sorry that I've asked questions that it's already been answered, but
It's okay.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I'm coming in late to this one, but I
It's
have
okay.
shared it out. And
I
anything I can
appreciate
do,
it.
let me know.
And if there's
It,
anything
it,
that I can answer, let me know. And, if there's any new information going forward or more, if we need to have another discussion about everything that we've discussed tonight, to see if there's anything that we can come up with. If we need to whiteboard this thing out further, we can certainly do it. If you guys see his flyer on Facebook, Twitter, I think I'm going to make a TikTok video and put it out there. Sorry, y'all, my pit bull, she's needing attention. I will please share it out. Please share this flyer that has Paul's information and these pictures. If you know any information about this white Camry or this white van, or have any information or have seen Paul in the area, please reach out to law enforcement. And you can find the family on Facebook. In the description, you can find the Facebook group that is for Paul Flores. And I encourage you to go over there and join it and get to know some of the people in there. His mom is in there, because they're a wonderful group of people and they're just trying to help bring Paul home to his family where he belongs. So thank you guys so much for just being here to support this family in their time of crisis, because they don't have the answers that they need. And I don't feel like law enforcement is taking this case very seriously. Because I have a lot of questions, because a lot of these things, they don't really add up. And I feel sad that people don't think that Paul's life is as valuable as the next person who's missing. But his family loves him. His friends care about him. He has kids. He has grandkids. And his life matters. And we want to bring Paul home, hopefully safe and as soon as possible. And you never know when somebody's going to see something. Crystal's husband put a flyer on the side of his truck, and goes all across the United States. You just never know when somebody's going to see something. I made a flyer for a girl, Jaden Carpenter, and a mod for me, Arctic Fox, somebody near him where he went and hung flyers up, recognized her, and she was actually traveling. And he had
And
bought her food.
somebody saw her on my husband's truck as well. So I believe
Yeah.
she's out there.
It's very, very possible. It would be good to be able to get Paul's information and face as far and wide as possible. And if you have any connections in this area and you can give these people flyers and just educate them, like, hey, this gentleman is missing and his family is very worried and we're looking for information. Now, Vince, is there a reward for information about your brother?
My mom usually handles that. Not entirely sure. Yeah, 'cause usually my mom and sisters are usually one that's handling all the other stuff.
Thank you, Vibrator. I appreciate that very much. Wishful thinking. He is from Southern California, Kern County area, Stockton, around that area. Cherries says, please also look up Stand Up Be Heard podcast. They are going out to the area to do a vigil. Please let us know when that's going to be. We would love to be able to have you guys share that information with us and let us know how that goes. And she also says that a new private investigator is looking into the case. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's really what you need, is somebody that's boots on the ground that can help you get the answers that you deserve. But know that you are being heard. Paul's story
I'm
is
going to
being
jump
heard.
down, Duchess. Thank you for allowing me to be up here. And
You're
Vince,
welcome,
thank you for
Crystal.
being a voice for your brother.
Thank you so much, Crystal, for being here. I appreciate you. Well, Vince, I'm gonna let you go. It's getting kind of late here on the East Coast. I'm past midnight, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
So I've
sorry
got to
about that.
go. It's okay. I don't mind at all. That's what we're here for. But my pit bull requires my attention. She wants to go outside. So I'm probably going to have to go here in just a minute. So I'm going to let you go. But if there's any further information that you would like for me to share, if you would like to come back again on my channel, or any of your family, if Cherries would like to come back and, keep us posted about what's going on so we can make sure that we're sharing factual information and figuring out what's happened in the case of your brother who's missing, just know that you are in our thoughts and prayers. If you guys could put some hearts and prayer hands in the chat for Cherries and for Vince and for Paul's family and friends, because we really just want a positive outcome in this situation. Now, I appreciate you guys being here. And thank you, Vince, for taking the time to just speak to us. You've really clarified a lot of important information for us. And I really do hope you guys can get the answers that you need, that these people in the white van will come forward, and maybe somebody will see this white Camry and be able to get a tag number and report it to law enforcement. And maybe law enforcement will take this seriously. Don't
Yeah,
give up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And that was the main goal, was to at least try to clear up, because I know a lot of people had a lot of questions and unanswered questions, at least, and it was kind of getting a little confusing. Because even when I was
Right.
sitting in the back just watching all the stuff that's going on, and it got confusing as well for myself, even though I know majority of, kind of like the timeline of what was happening.
Yeah, it's a lot of information, and there's a lot that goes into this, and quite a amount of time has passed. This didn't just happen last week. This happened back in July, and you guys really haven't gotten the answers that you need. So I do hope that you will be able to find the answers that you deserve with this private investigator, and I'll try to stay on top of it in the Facebook group, and you can feel free to reach out to me anytime, Vince. And thank you again for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Y'all show some love to Vince in the chat and to Cherries. We appreciate them being here so very much. I hope that this live stream was informative. I feel like people were asking great questions. The good Nunya had a whole 10-page notebook of questions. That's a great question, Crystal. I didn't ask if they had checked the bus stations, but I will certainly. Cherries in chat. That's all of these. You guys, this is what this community is about: is coming together, putting all of our thoughts and questions out there. Because it maybe the family didn't think of something, or maybe they're like, oh gosh, we probably do need to look into these things, because when something like this is happening, you may not be able to think of everything right off the cuff. Because your mind is still reeling that your family member is missing. So I want to thank all my moderators for being here, and I want to thank all the members for being here. I really appreciate you guys so very much. I want to thank Abelus, who became a new member. Whispers has been a member for 5 months. The 5 Canes has been a member for 14 months. Flies has been a member for 5 months. And I just want to thank all of my other members for being here and supporting this mission to help get factual awareness out. Listen, we can have discussions. We can talk about what the possibilities are, but we're not ever going to attack family. We're not ever going to get into fights and go after each other's kids and all of that, because that's not what we do over here. That's not who we are. We've got to focus on how we can help others and not tear each other down. We do what we can. Don't forget to hit the like, and don't forget to share this out so we can get Paul Flores and all the information about his disappearance in the algorithm. More people need to see this. I'm looking forward to allegedly speculating, doing another live stream to talk about it. And I'm hoping that you guys went over there and subbed up to her channel. If one of the mods could grab her link and drop it in the chat, I would appreciate that. We want to support people that are out here trying to do good in this community. There's good in all of us. We're far from perfect, but we can strive to be the best people that we can each day to try to lift people up in these hard times, because there's so many people that are out there missing. Now, I do want to go over some flyers later on this week. I might have a live stream even tomorrow, because I have so many cases that I want to share with you guys out here on the East Coast. If you have a case that you want me to talk about, you have a family that needs help, just shoot me an email. Have the family reach out to me. I'm happy to cover a case. It doesn't matter how far, how wide. You just let me know the information, put them in touch with me. I'm happy to give them a safe space to tell their story. Explorer Corps, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Good night, Dragon. Love you guys so very much. Thank you, Sue, for being a member for 14 months. Vibrator, are you on Facebook? If you send me an email, I'll send you the flyer. But if you're on Facebook, you can pick it up on my Facebook page. But if you shoot me an email, I'll send you the flyer. Sounds good. I hope y'all take care. Have an amazing Friday. Don't pay attention to all the drama in the streets. Be mindful where you go, what you take in. Too much toxicity is not healthy for you. Love you, Sherry's. If you need anything, you just reach out and let me know, darling. I'm happy to help in any way, and I thank you for trusting me and reaching out to me to help share your son's story. You're such a sweet lady, and I really hope that you find your son as soon as possible. If you need something, just send me a text. Y'all take care, and don't forget, I'll be live in a couple days. We're going to talk about some more flyers. Hopefully, it'll be tomorrow. We'll go take my dog out. Y'all go catch up what's going on these YouTube streets, and I'll see you around in the chats. Bye, y'all.